could never be marketed. If a company can show an application to FDA that a specific product meets the standards set forth by Congress, then the FDA would authorize that ENDS product for sale.
Israel's president asked Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to form a new government. This presents the longtime leader with the difficult task of breaking a post-election deadlock that has paralyzed the country's political system. I'm Barbara Kumsat. You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio. Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create a culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question 30.
This code has been compromised.
Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Wednesday, September 25th, 2019. The big news is the impeachment inquiry of Trump, the new Ukraine scandal, which might as well be Russia 2.0, and the emergence of Elizabeth Warren. Of course, there's other headlines, but that's what's going on in the political world. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to take your calls. And if you're watching on YouTube, congratulations, you found the new channel. It officially happened. The 18th channel terminated. And I maintain that I've never violated the terms of service of YouTube. And they don't even really give me a reason why they strike the videos that they do. So for the people out there, you should know that my YouTube channel was pretty much taken down because I defended myself from the viral interview of Joe Rogan and Alex Jones, where they stated that people who question mass shootings are suffering from a form of mental illness, such as schizophrenia. And in that video, I put forth some fair questions, and sadly, we're in such an age of censorship, I'm not even sure I can put forth those questions here in this live broadcast since this is going over YouTube. You really cannot talk about certain things. You can't even defend yourself from being called a schizophrenic without any evidence. And, just to show you also what kind of company Google is who's doing this censorship, it's the second time I've been deleted while receiving threats. And both times that I documented the threats that were coming against me shortly after the channel was deleted. And what I find interesting is those channels that are making public threats, those channels still exist. They've never been censored by Google, but I've been taken down twice now when sharing the threats that I, sometimes endure. So, it really does show you what kind of people run these companies. And it's not about protecting anyone. It's just about destroying truth and destroying hard work that is deserved to be out there. The people deserve to have the information, be able to make the judgment. So that said, I think something we should start doing during radio broadcasts, even live streams, is some sort of, action that's about as close to being as impactful as possible without, pounding the pavement with our actual feet. And it seems that the way to do that might be through Twitter, since that's where a lot of people are and a lot of people are getting notifications. I just imagine if when these stories were going viral, if, all of a sudden 2,000 comments were left educating about gematria and rigged elections and contrived stories. Like for example, yesterday, the day the Democrats brought the, impeachment inquiry against Trump. That was Trump's 103rd day of his age. In this code of letters and numbers, impeachment inquiry, what they referred to it as, equals 103. And it's like this day after day. So I'm just imagining, people are watching or following these viral stories on Twitter. There's tens of thousands of comments there. What if a huge percentage of those comments got filled up with gematria? Learn gematria, and just educating, 1,000 comments that say impeachment inquiry equals 103. This comes on Trump's 103rd day of his age. Because you could literally do this every day. I'm just imagining if just all of a sudden Twitter and social media was filled up with people routinely like sharing the work that I put out every day on my blog, on my YouTube channel, then what would happen? Then would the work finally spread? Because it feels like that's what needs to happen. Thousands of people helping spread the information at once and perhaps targeted, if it's the Washington Post article about Elizabeth Warren per se, and it's for whatever reason it's getting the most views, that would be the place to put the information, right? To get the most attention. So anyway, I think that's something we need to start doing. I'm not real good on Twitter, so I need to educate myself better so that I can properly instruct. Something else, another bullet point we got to hit. The sports stat of the week. If you're trying to wake people up to how rigged the show is, from the news to the sports, before the NFL games are played this Sunday, go to ESPN.com, go to the NFL section, and click on the Gamecast button for the Bills and the Patriots, and it'll show you right there how many passing yards Tom Brady has for the season. You can also go to any site that keeps track of, NFL player stats, and there's many. And if you add up his yards, but on the ESPN page, it's nice because it just puts the yardage right up there for you to see. Tom Brady is on 911 passing yards through 3 games of the NFL season, and the 3rd game he just played was against the New York Jets. And 18 years ago, nearly to the day, September 23rd, 2001, September 22nd, 2019, Tom Brady, he's playing against the Jets again. He finishes the game. Through 3 games, he has 911 passing yards. And remember, 9/11, September 11th. Right after that, Drew Bledsoe, the Patriots starting quarterback, gets injured by a New York Jet. And Tom Brady comes in, and the rest is history. And think about it, a New York Jet, it's a deeper riddle than you realize. It was the 1968 season where the Jets went to the Super Bowl and won. The only time they ever won a Super Bowl, 1968. That's the same year World Trade Center construction began. That's the same year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. That's the same year George W. Bush graduated from Yale in Skull and Bones. New York Jets football. After 9/11, you get the Patriot Act, and then you get the emergence of the Patriots. Tom Brady took over on the day, leaving 99 days left in the year, September 23rd. Patriot equals 99. New England equals 99. 9/11. What's 9 times 11? Is it 99? So, and don't forget the United States of America equals 99, and it was named as such on September 9th, 9/9/1776. Special numbers. So anyhow, Tom Brady, 911 yards. And consider on September 11th this year, 2019, the New York Mets won their game with 9 runs and 11 hits, shutting out the Diamondbacks, who the Yankees played in the World Series after September 11th. What are the odds of these things? And the thing is, when you learn this knowledge, you can see how week after week there are rituals like this, which is why for years I've said sports are scripted from the final score to the box score. And on the football field, I routinely make the point, even the hash mark. So 911 yards. That's my point. Hash mark, right to the yard. Okay, before I start going out to the calls, another thing I want to address tonight. Somebody asked me a question I've been asked before. What is the best way to explain this knowledge gematria of letters and numbers to somebody in a quick 2-minute conversation? And this is the way I would approach it if you just had 2 minutes. You have to explain this knowledge in passing. You'd have to start with something like, there's this occult knowledge out there, such as Kabbalah and such as Hermeticism. Kabbalah states in the Book of Formation, or the Kabbalistic text, the Book of Formation, it's stated that God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. So you make that point. And then you also explain that in the occult, Hermeticism, alchemy, numerology, astrology, all of these things are important. In Hermeticism, one of the 7 principles is the principle of vibration, that everything carries a vibration that impacts, everything in the world, everything, every shape, every symbol, every letter, every number. So that's where the significance becomes. And quickly explain. So essentially it comes back to energy and influencing energy in the world. And just explain, just using the alphabetic order, all of these words sum to 74. Energy, occult, English, gematria. You can explain that it's practiced within Jewish communities. Jewish is 74. It's important to Masonry. Masonic is 74. You can look at the history of this nation, English-speaking nation, a lot of Masons. Holiday equals 74. And if you use the alphabetic order and the rules of numerology, which you could explain for one more point to build on, Independence Day equals 74. And maybe you have to speak a little bit quicker to fit it in 2 minutes, but I would just hit something like that, all those points, and just say, don't you think that's interesting? And, depending on what the person's into, you could build a lot on just 74. There's so many examples of 74. They grow by the day, literally. But very significant number, a number that's easy to teach about. And if somebody learned that number and then they went home and they read the paper, or they watched TV, or they're watching the sports game, it's very likely that within a very short period of time, that number is going to be put right in front of their face. Or if not 74, 47, and their brain might even recognize that. Wait a minute, 47 is kind of like 74. Might start realizing like, wow, these numbers really are all over the place when you pay attention. That's essentially how it began for me. That's how it began for a lot of us. And you just start to realize the patterns are too repetitive to be coincidental. Just like it's too much of a coincidence for Tom Brady to have 911 passing yards after facing the New York Jets nearly 18 years later to the day of how it all began. And then keep in mind, he also played against a quarterback making his first career start who went to Washington State University, like Drew Bledsoe, who Tom Brady replaced. And that quarterback happened to be the 199th pick like Tom Brady was. 199 is the 46th prime. Tom Brady equals 46. Patriots equals 46. Michigan equals 46. Tom Brady was drafted out of Michigan. Familiar numbers. So that's how I'd go about explaining in 2 minutes, though. Introduce Kabbalah, Hermeticism, and then how it comes together through that number 74. Yeah, so we'll talk about some of the other things. I never write down notes, but tonight I actually wrote down some notes for things that we should cover throughout the show. It's the most structured show ever already. But yeah, before I talk about some of these other topics, let's just go out to the callers since a lot of people are already on hold. Glad people are finding the show. I was curious to see how the turnout would be on the new channel. It says only a few people are subscribed, so it's hard to tell. But if you do want to call in tonight, I suggest you do so now because the line's already pretty long. 213-233-3998. Be patient, and I will get to your call. Let's go out to Nebraska.
What's going on, Zach?
Hey, what's up, man?
Now, I'm going to give me 1 second to take off. All right. I just had a quick couple points. First point I had to make was I've been noticing Rambo's been calling in the last few weeks. At first, he was talking about astrological riddles with Venus, and he moved on with Mercury. And I just found it pretty funny when he would start talking about Mercury. I don't know if he mentioned it in any of the previous decodes he had, but Will Smith has a new movie coming out called Gemini, man. And I thought that was very odd.
Sure.
And, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and it's basically about him fighting his evil twin or something. I don't know. And then I think the day it comes out is a pretty peculiar date as well, sometime in October. That's what I had. That's one part of what I had. And then the second part is the upset. I think it wasn't this past Saturday. It was a weekend before last, week 3 college football. Pittsburgh versus Central Florida. I found a pretty interesting decode there. Pat Narduzzi got the upset against UCF. It was 152 days after Pat Narduzzi's birthday. I believe UCF Night Eagles 152, and Josh Heupel became 15-2 with that loss to match the 152. So I thought that was pretty interesting. That's pretty much all I have for today.
Yeah, those types of patterns in college and pro football, they happen a lot. You start to realize just how scripted it all is.
Yep, those are the ones I try to find too. Listening to Patreon or just doing on my own decodes on my own. I try to find those birthday and coach correlations.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm in here in Nebraska. We get Ohio State this weekend, right? And they're bringing College Game Day to Lincoln. So I don't know. It's kind of some numbers to an Ohio State upset. I just can't imagine that because Nebraska. They're not my favorite team, but I'm born and raised here. Nebraska's trash right now, and I know where I don't see us beating Ohio State. But
hey, speaking of
pretty interesting numbers.
Speaking of Nebraska, if you go back and look at the game against Colorado State, where you guys were up big in the first half, and then collapsed in the second half, and Colorado State came back and won the game. If you go back and look and measure from both quarterbacks' birthdays to the game, you'll see that each quarterback, the distance in days syncs up with the team name. From the Nebraska quarterback's birthday to the game, it was the amount of days that equaled Colorado Buffaloes. And then from the Colorado QB to the game, it was the number of days that matched up with Nebraska Cornhuskers. And you start to realize that these kids who are playing these positions at some of these schools, it's like, who's their daddy? Because this is why they're on the field. So
their dad or their uncle or grandpa or somebody.
Right, exactly. Some relative.
But somebody close. Yeah, Zach. But there's a riddle. All right, how about this? Nebraska is 6-1 all time against Ohio State. If they pick up the win, they become 2-6 against Ohio State. Nebraska equals 26 in the score reduction cipher. And
isn't Nebraska also 71 though? Am I mistaken that Nebraska?
I was about to say that. I was just about to say if they lose, they can be 1-7, or Ohio State can be 7-1 against Nebraska. And like you said, Nebraska equals 71. But yeah, there's a few other riddles as well. I think Ohio State can become 5-0. I think that Saturday has 50-day numerology. Don't quote me. I think it does, though. But there's a few things that I thought were pretty interesting. But that's all I had. That.
All right, appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
All right, man. Take it easy. You too, bro.
All right, take care.
Yep.
All right, let's go out to Washington.
I'm just listening tonight. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. All right, looks like it's Rambo.
How's it going, Zach?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm great. It's the highlight of my week, as usual. The caller, he was talking about Gemini man. I'm glad that people are starting to notice this. Gemini is a major part of their rituals to the elite, because Mercury they'll either destroy mercury or sometimes they'll exalt mercury, especially if they're using alchemy, because in alchemy the most important element is mercury. So while on one hand they were destroying mercury at the World Trade Center, which is a giant Gemini sandwich, they destroyed it on September 11th, which is said to be the real birthday of Jesus Christ, who was part of the Mercury archetype. They also exalt mercury in alchemy, because in alchemy what you do is you destroy it and then you reconstitute, like a phoenix that burns in the ashes and then comes back to life. But each time it reconstitutes at a higher level of ascension. So that's what the new World Trade Center Freedom Tower actually represents, is an alchemical reference, the destruction and then the reconstitution. So that's kind of what the twins represent. It represents separation. So yeah, he's right. He said he was talking about the Gemini man. The release date for the Gemini man is October 11th, which is 1011, which is in numerology like 111, and 111 was all over the World Trade Center ritual. There were 111 days left in the year at the time of the ritual. Also, 111. Think of the two pillars and the middle pillar. Think of the two towers and the Solomon Brothers building. Those are like a 111 as well. So yeah, that might be what he was referring to in the release date. Also, as far as Will Smith fighting his evil twin, that's Mercury actually represents duality, and it represents opposition, the opposing forces. So that's part of the theme. As far as Will Smith with a clone, and they're opposing each other. So one thing about Mercury is it represents Christ. It also represents Antichrist, and that's seen in Batman. Batman represents Christ, and Batman and the Joker, his nemesis, also represents the Antichrist. But they're both representatives of Mercury. I've got a super long decode on that. It's too long to do on the air. But the movie Joker that's coming up, it's not Batman, it's the Joker, and it's all about Mercury. But I've got a deeper decode on that. But I want to bring up a couple of topics that I've brought up before, maybe a couple of years. Time flies. I've been calling in the show like 2 years now. So there's some decodes that some people who heard might have forgotten, and it's good to refresh, or some people might have never heard. I want to bring those up. But one of them is last week you did a 3-hour show. I think it was on Friday. And besides the topic of YouTube censorship, you discussed multiple issues, one of which was the comparison that several people have made between you, Zach, and Pythagoras, the great mathematician. You assured us all, while appreciating the compliment, that you are not Pythagoras. And I agree. Zach Hubbard is not Pythagoras. Zach Hubbard is actually Archimedes, the Greek mathematician born in 287 BC. Chief among his multiple accomplishments was his ability to, and I'm quoting Wikipedia here, derive and rigorously prove a range of geometric theorems, which to me, I think it describes exactly what you've done with gematria, which is based on geometry of the universe. You have rigorously proven a range of geometric theorems. We all know the term eureka, which denotes a revelation or an epiphany. It was Archimedes who created that phrase, or at least made it famous, pronounced evreka in Greek. To further enforce that point, an illustrative representation of a person's epiphany or eureka moment is a lit light bulb over one's head. When recording a past video, you had a spontaneous realization as you narrated your presentation. And the light bulb above your head in the room, a literal physical light bulb, which had been off, turned on by itself right when you had that realization. If that's not enough, then look at the gematria of Archimedes, Archimedes, and Zach Hubbard. They match in 2 base ciphers. reduction or Pythagorean, forward and reverse, 49 and 59. That's Zach Hubbard and Archimedes match. In the exact two ciphers, the word revelation also matches. So Zach Hubbard, revelation, and Archimedes, they match in 2 out of 4 base ciphers. Also, the word epiphany matches Zach Hubbard in the 2 pure ciphers, ordinal and reduction, at 94 and 49. In the purest cipher, full reduction or Pythagorean, Zach Hubbard, Archimedes, revelation, and epiphany all equal 49. 49 being your birthday numerology, July 21st, 1983. 7 plus 21 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 3 equals 49. So again, to those who keep comparing Zach Hubbard to Pythagoras, Zach Hubbard is not Pythagoras. He is Archimedes. Now, here's another one I've done before a couple years ago regarding the current date or the current time of the year we're in, the autumnal equinox. It's a major ritual in the Northern Hemisphere. Freemasonry honors the autumnal equinox with a ritual called the Martyrdom of Hiram Abiff. The Martyrdom of Hiram Abiff ritual takes place on September 23rd. So it took place 2 days ago. Hiram Abiff is a Freemasonic allegorical character who is the architect and master builder of Solomon's Temple. Hiram Abiff is based on the ancient Egyptian allegorical...
Oh, pause right there. We're getting interrupted by the commercial. Sorry, we'll be right back, everybody.
We lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? High Life is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to ayalife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
So, you love talk radio, then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store. If you have hard water, the Live Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Live Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Here's the monster. Here's the little desk. This is Uncle Walt from the Ironworks. Josh, Corey, and I have chosen to look at life with no fear. No fear of the unknown. No fear of questions about the supposedly well-known. No fear of ridicule for thinking outside the familiar fool's lines. No fear of the boot on the neck of those refusing the party line. No fear of taking on those so convinced in their beliefs they would sooner drink the Kool-Aid than believe they've been fools made. In this world filled with mystery, cannot think. Can truth's protective layers be peeled back to show the tender, juicy drink? Are we all just grist for the mill? Souls sold against our will, or is that just how it feels? When you're filled to the rim, trivialities so clear, filled and grim, break clear of the fear. Right here, Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 a.m. on TFR. Flash and I and you will hammer out the impurities of technology-driven groupthink, fold in a dash of logic, and punch it all with a bit of absurdity. The Iron Works. Break free of the fear.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
All right, we're back. Truth Seeker. We got Rambo on the line. A lot of callers. Thank you for phoning in tonight. Be patient. I will get to your call. Rambo was talking about this Masonic holiday that just passed, September 23rd, the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff. Always an interesting day each year if you follow the news cycle. September 23rd. Some years back, it was the day that Pope Francis and Obama were together. And September 23rd, it's the 266th day of the year. Pope Francis, he's the 266th Pope. And the Jesuit motto, which I can't think of off the top of my head, but the gematria of that motto sums to 266 as well, which is very interesting. And remember, Pope Francis became the 266th Pope March 13th, 13. The year 2013, 3-13-13. 3 is the second prime number, and 13 is the sixth prime number. So 3-13-13 in prime number relationships is 266, 266th Pope. Big ritual in Washington, D.C. on the 266th day of the year, which also turns out to be a Masonic holiday, which just makes so much sense because when you think about Washington, D.C., you have the presence of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the House of the Temples there. George Washington was a Scottish Rite Freemason. And then you have the history of that territory being the Catholic colony. And that's why it's between Virginia and Maryland, like Virgin Mary. And the Jesuits used to have influence there, which is why Georgetown, the oldest Jesuit university, is there in the U.S. The Jesuits, their motto is shared by the Scottish Rite at the 32nd degree. Special number there, 32. Scottish is 32. America's 32. The establishment date of this nation has 32 numerology and more. 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite. So anyway, I'm just thinking, okay, Masonic holiday, date that big Jesuit ritual recently went down in history with Obama. Again, Pope Francis is the first publicly Jesuit Pope. The word Jesuit equals 84. Masonry's 84. United States of America's 84. You think about 1984, the Orwell book. He was a member of the Fabian Society, established 1884. And did I say Pope Francis's birth numerology is 84? Because it is. Anyway, let's go back to Rambo. Rambo's got something awesome, and I just want to throw some thoughts in about this September 23rd date in light of recent history. So let's go back out to Rambo. All right, you got the floor, friend.
Thanks. Actually, while we're on the break, I looked up about the movie Gemini Man. It turns out that Will Smith's character is called Henry Brogan, and I did the gematria on his character's last name, Brogan, Brogan. It's 57, 105, and 33. Just like, I know right away those were Gemini numbers.
Huh.
Same as Gemini, 57, 105, and 33.
Of course, and it's just like that Hollywood movie. Did you notice that today's Will Smith's birthday? Will Smith actually turned 51 years old today, September 25th.
Oh, yeah, today's his birthday, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, organically, one of the reasons I recognize the Gemini numbers 57, 105, 33 right away is because I'm a Gemini. I'm a twin. Twins are the symbol for Gemini. I'm a twin. I'm a Gemini, and my birthday numerology is 105 and 33, just like Gemini's 105 and 33.
Huh.
So, and that's not the half of it. Like, my life is all by the numbers, like everything. So, organically, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So, we are currently at the autumnal equinox in the Northern Hemisphere, a major ritual moment on the calendar. Freemasons honor the autumnal equinox with a ritual called the Martyrdom of Hiram Abiff. The Martyrdom of Hiram Abiff ritual takes place every September 23rd. Hiram Abiff is a Freemasonic allegorical character who is the architect and master builder of Solomon's Temple. Hiram Abiff is based on the ancient Egyptian allegorical figure Osiris, who represents the sun. Osiris is killed by his brother Set in ancient Egyptian mythology, hence the term sunset. The name Seth is a derivative of Set, the ancient Egyptian god. And I'll get to that name, Seth. In the Freemasonic legend, Hiram Abiff, who is a third-degree master mason, while in the process of finishing the construction of Solomon's Temple, is accosted by 3 second-degree fellow craft Freemasons who demand that he reveals the secret word of the Master Mason, also known as the secret name of God. The 3 fellow craft second-degree Masons who attack Hiram Abiff are collectively known as the 3 ruffians. Hiram Abiff is first attacked at the east gate of Solomon's Temple. He survives the attack and does not divulge the secret word of the Master Mason. He is then attacked at the south gate of Solomon's Temple, survives that attack, and again does not divulge the secret word of the Master Mason. Hiram Abiff is finally attacked at the west gate of Solomon's Temple, where he is killed, but succeeds in protecting the secret word of the Master Mason, hence the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff. The sun is represented by Osiris, the Egyptian god represented by Hiram Abiff. Osiris is killed by Set. Hiram Abiff is killed at the west gate of Solomon's Temple as the sun sets in the west. In the yearly cycle, the autumnal equinox is like a sunset, with the end of summer and the sun's descent towards winter. One major martyrdom of Hiram Abiff ritual that masqueraded as a tragic news event was the 2013 Westgate Mall massacre in Nairobi, Kenya, in East Africa. The name of the mall is a dead giveaway and the most important element of the ritual. The west gate of Solomon's Temple is where Hiram Abiff is killed. The sun setting in the yearly cycle. The date of the incident is the clincher. It started September 21st, 2013, the autumnal equinox, and ended September 24th, covering the date on which Freemasonry observes the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff, September 23rd. In the legend, Hiram Abiff is killed at noon when the workers on Solomon's Temple were on lunch break. The Westgate Mall attack started at noon. The autumnal equinox sees the Earth's equator and the sun's equator form a unified plane. The equator is also paramount to this ritual. The country of Kenya, it was chosen because the country of Kenya is on the equator. The mall was built by and mostly owned by Israelis. In fact, after the attacks, Israeli troops and special forces, along with British agents, occupied the site and led security investigation. The September 23rd ritual of the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff involves a mason laying on the ground, portraying the martyred body of Hiram Abiff, flanked on both sides by a row of masons kneeling or genuflecting on one knee. This is the source of the NFL's national anthem kneeling protest, another covert martyrdom of Hiram Abiff ritual. It is no coincidence that Donald Trump famously tweeted about the kneeling, condemning it as unpatriotic, on September 23rd of 2017. This is also a covert disempowerment ritual for Black people. To confront somebody who is a threat is to stand up to them. You stand up for yourself, to defend yourself. Kneeling is the opposite. To bend on one knee, as they do with the anthem protest, is to genuflect. This is the definition of genuflection. The act of bending at least one knee to the ground. From early times, it has been a gesture of deep respect for a superior. Another definition of genuflect, to be servilely deferential or respectful, to grovel. We know that the Gematria racial code for Black people, that's stamped all over Black people, are primarily 42 and 59. These numbers are stamped all over the kneeling ritual. The rallying cry on Twitter for support of the kneeling was hashtag take the knee. Take the knee sums to 42. Bended knee sums to 42. Genuflect sums to 42. Genuflection sums to 59. The former Houston Texans owner, who recently passed away, famously stated to the Players Union representative to tell his, quote, compadres to stand for the anthem. Compadre sums to 42. So that wasn't a spontaneously chosen choice of words. Now, there was one Caucasian player who was given the title of the first white player to kneel in protest, and that was Seth DeVolve. Remember that name, Seth DeVolve. He was a tight end at the time with the Cleveland Browns. He's now with the Jaguars. Seth DeVolve was kind of considered an honorary African American, being married to an African American woman. When you know the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff ritual, it is obvious why Seth DeVolve was chosen. Hiram Abiff is Osiris, who was killed by Set. So his name Seth is a reference to the allegory upon which the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff ritual is based. In Gematria, Seth DeVolve sums to 42. Also, in complete contrast to kneeling is standing up. So I just looked at the gematria of stand up, compared it to the term European. Stand up and European, they match in 2 out of 4 ciphers, base ciphers. So the public kneeling, genuflecting, groveling, it's a ritual reserved for Black people, and it is portrayed as an empowerment protest action, but it's actually the opposite. So yeah, that's what I got for today.
Well, awesome as always.
For this time of year.
Yeah, great research once again. So appreciate it very much.
Well, I appreciate giving me the platform.
Of course, anytime. Well, thank you so much, Rambo.
All right, have a great night.
All right, man. You have a good night.
Yeah.
All right. So Rambo, always great research, great presentation. Usually links a few topics together. Let's go out to California. Thank you for your patience.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Hey, what's up, Zach? It's Carl over here. Hey, listen, it's been a while. But anyway, I have nothing really, just listening. But anytime you're ready to take some action and get them foot soldiers rolling, I'm here for you.
All right. Well, how are we going to do it?
Well, look, first we could at least make some banners and put them at the elementary school. Says Zach Hubbard says, teach us gematria. You know what I mean? That's the first start. So when you're ready to do that, I'm over here on the West Coast. We get your callers all together, East Coast, the South, and we could talk about some future dates. You know what I mean? Right. When you're ready, I'll be listening until then. Okay, brother? I don't want to tie everything up.
Well, here, Carl, I just got to let you know.
Everyone has to say, hey, Zach, when you're ready for action, I'll always be on the line here for you.
All right.
Okay? But until then, I'll listen.
All right. Thanks, Carl.
Good night.
Appreciate it, man. Okay. I like that idea. I do think children should be taught this knowledge, not in the way that they don't need to know everything about the evil that's done by this, but all kids should know that there's this knowledge out there, letters and numbers, and it's even used by the people in their government. And surely they can prove that every day if they have this knowledge in their hands. It should be taught, Of course, the cabal wouldn't like that, but I was going to say, I think if we wouldn't start putting up those types of posters on public school property, because you're not supposed to trespass on school property, right? Unless you have a child that goes there. So I'm not sure that's the smartest idea in 2019 in terms of having a successful movement. So you might want to refine your approach. But you are right. We do need to pound the pavement. That is the goal. So let's go out to Philadelphia.
Hey, Zach, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to see you're back on YouTube.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, anyway, what you were talking about with that video you put out last night about Tom Brady and the 911 passing yards.
Right.
I just realized today, Tom Brady is the modern day NFL equivalent of Hulk Hogan from the WWF in the 80s.
Sure.
Because, when the whole craze of Hulkamania started and Hulk Hogan really became a fan favorite was when he defeated the Iron Sheik. And the character of the Iron Sheik was supposedly from Iran, right? And he won the world title from the Iron Sheik. It was in Madison Square Garden, and of course, Madison Square Garden is in New York, right?
Right.
And where did Tom Brady rose to prominence just after 9/11, which was in New York.
Right.
Also, the theme song that Hulk Hogan used to come out to was "I'm a Real American." What team does Brady play for?
Sure, the Patriots, right?
Yeah. And both of them are also Leos.
Yeah, August 3rd and August 11th. I think those are their birthdays. Tom Brady, August 3rd. Hulk Hogan, August 11th. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I've also heard somewhere, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that when Hulk Hogan used to perform in the ring, a lot of the former wrestlers now said that they had to put him up. In other words, make him look better than he actually was.
Sure. Yeah.
Just like you know, what you've been saying they've been doing with Brady, making him look better than he really is.
Exactly. Clear as day.
Yeah. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to say.
If you can't think of it, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Have you seen the clip of Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage from 1989 where they're talking about how they won't stop until they take the Twin Towers down, until the Twin Towers come crumbling down? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that, yes.
Yeah, I started thinking about that when you're talking about Hulk Hogan, so very interesting. What year was it he defeated the Iron Sheik?
It was in 1984.
84, huh? Very interesting year. Let's go back and look at that. So, can you remember?
And, oh yeah. Now I remembered the point I was going to say. And also, just like Brady, Hogan almost always never lost.
Right. Yeah, clear parallels. So, yeah, great points, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, friend. You have a good night. Thank you.
All right, good night.
All right, take care. And don't forget how every year they're syncing up the Super Bowl with that big wrestling event that always happens around that time. I'm not a big wrestling guy, so I don't know them all. I know it's not WrestleMania. I think it's Royal Rumble, the one that's always going around the time of the Super Bowl. The other year when Brady beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl, the winner of Royal Rumble was from the Boston area, and he defeated a guy from the Atlanta area. You know, and that was the Super Bowl, Boston, Atlanta. It's the same stuff year after year. Okay, let's go out to Flint, Michigan. Flint?
I'm just listening.
All right, thank you, Flint. I've gotten used to that now. I realize Flint's probably just listening, but just in case they want to say something, I'm just going to check in. Let's go out to Florida. Florida, you got to mute your video in the background. You're on.
Is this the Zach and Rambo show?
Yes, it is the Zach and Rambo show. We should rename it that.
Good. Listen, I had to write some notes down because I had a couple questions. I don't get to talk to you that much. I have a dentist appointment tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I got to leave like 7 because I got to take 2 buses and I'm legally blind.
Okay.
And, you know, people in the chat were asking if Rambo had his own show.
He needs his own show, not yet. So
he's a genius, man.
Yeah,
you know,
very good.
I love that guy. He has a lot of good information. He should have his own show. And I would go over there and I would watch it.
Right.
But this is your show. You know, he takes up a lot of time, man. He takes up like 40 minutes, man. That's like a third of the show. And when I'm sitting on the phone, I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning. You know, I'm going to get on and I want to go to bed. And I listen to the rest of your show tomorrow. I've been following you since day one.
Thank you.
I'm a member of Patreon.
Thank you.
I don't like sports.
Uh-oh.
You know, I know they're rigged. I never really was into sports. Anytime anybody says, "Oh, how about them Eagles?" I'd say, "I'm not into hockey." And that would be the end of that. They never talk to me about sports again.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You know, and I don't bet. I don't have any money to bet, so I don't bet. The only reason I joined up for Patreon was to support the show. Support the cause. Support you.
Appreciate that.
You know what I mean?
Thank you very much.
I followed you on Gematria Effect News. You know, and then when a couple of days when, you know, you didn't post anything there, I figured, okay, well, it probably went down. They probably took that channel too. So I go to Gematria Expect Sports. And sure enough, you know, you explained to everybody what went down.
Right.
And so I told you before, I called in before, I don't like to watch the news. I can't stand it. I can't stand the drug commercials every 2 minutes.
Right.
You get 2 minutes of news and then 15 minutes of drug commercials.
Indeed.
You know what I mean?
Indeed.
So I said, I appreciate you watching the news for me because you help me out with that.
Sure.
And then I get the real news, what's really going on, what's behind it, and who's doing it. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
I love you, Zach. You do great work, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The thing you were talking about is how to get people to understand this. This is what I did. You know, you ask somebody, you say, did you ever wonder why there's 26 letters in the alphabet? And they're like, huh, no, why? Here, read this book. And then I give them a copy of your book. They, you know, once they read the first chapter, they're going to continue reading because it's so interesting. You know, and I said, listen, you know, the guy, you know, worked on the book. It's an 800-page book. He worked on it for a couple of years. You know, he's only asking $5 for it because he wants the message to get out. And he says you can share the book and give it away to people. He doesn't care as long as the message gets out. That's why I love you, Zach. You know, you're not in for the money. I know that. And then I tell him, but he does, you know, if you want to leave him a donation to keep up the work, and I give him your PayPal number. You know what I mean?
Thank
so
you.
Hopefully you're getting somebody from me.
Appreciate that.
You know? Hey, no problem, man. Keep up the good work, Zach. Keep it up. But can you say pissed off on TFR?
You can say pissed off, yeah.
But you pissed me off the last couple of days, man, because you say you came out with your new channel and it was about sports, and more sports. But there was a lot of news going on, and I couldn't get any news out of you.
Well,
you know?
Well,
I know you can't be all things to all people all the time.
Oh,
but for me.
So just so you know, I mean, I on the sports channel, I did about, if you go back, I don't know if you missed all those videos, but there's about 40 videos there that aren't sports that I did in the time I was suspended. So
I know, I'm talking about the past couple of days.
Okay, well, you're right about that. It has been mostly a sports focus. So yeah, I hear you.
I know you work 25 hours a day. I know. You can't be everything to everybody all the time.
But I thought I did cover some news stories yesterday. The Ukraine thing and Melania Trump opening up the.
I saw that. I told my wife, because my wife follows you too. I said, "Oh look, Zach made a 4-minute video today."
Okay.
Lazy bastard.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do better. All right. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Listen, man, I just want to ask you another question about Russia's.
Oh, sit tight, because the commercial just kicked in. Sit tight. We'll be right back, everybody.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Special report, whistleblower complaint release. The whistleblower whose complaint apparently concerning President Trump putting pressure on Ukraine's president over political rival Joe Biden has tentatively agreed to testify, according to CNN. Respondent Pamela Brown reports that's if appropriate clearances are given.
The original complaint did contain classified information, we're told, and the classified version of the complaint, the original complaint that contained the classified information, was provided to Congress today. And so there's a separate process that's been going on to then declassify the complaint so that it could go out, wider, more public, and not just to lawmakers who can go into a SCIF to review it.
Congressman Eric Swalwell said the whistleblower laid out a lot of other documents and witnesses who were subjects in the matter. And top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer said the whistleblower complaint should be released immediately because the public has the right to see it. I'm Barbara Cusack. 2 more lives claimed due to vaping-related illnesses in the U.S., bringing the total to 11.
The most recent death was announced Wednesday by the Georgia Department of Health. It said the person had a history of heavy nicotine vaping. On Tuesday, the Florida Department of Health posted an updated case count to include 1 death. As of last week, the Centers for Disease Control reported at least 530 cases of lung injury associated with the use of e-cigarettes or vaping products. I'm Carrie Shoemaker.
Texas inmate Robert Sparks, who claimed that he was intellectually disabled, was executed today for fatally stabbing his 2 stepsons during a 2007 attack in their Dallas home that also left his wife dead. 2 white middle school girls face harassment charges after a mother reported her 10-year-old daughter was beaten and subjected to racist taunts on a school bus in a northern New York community earlier in the month. Robert Cusack.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
We're back, Truth Seeker. We got 2 hours left. We're taking your calls the rest of the way. Last caller got interrupted by the commercial. We're going to return to him in just a moment. I was scanning the YouTube live chat over the break, and there's somebody who's posting more comments than anyone else, and he's stating that, this movement's not making any progress, but that's not true. It's made a lot of progress in the last year. A lot more people found this work. Resources have been generated, and right now 2 websites are being built that are meant to help take the community further. The aim of my 2 websites being built is to help people organize so that we can pound the pavement, and also to build real relationships, because one of the worst parts about truth seeking, if you will, for a lot of us is that it isolates us from the people that we know, friends and family, because they don't want to hear anything about it. And when you're aware of this information, it's hard to, just turn the switch off. And then it becomes irritating that people don't care about it. Especially when you go, hey, come on. I mean, you've been dissing this work forever, but what do you think about this? Brady with 911 passing yards after he faces the Jets, and your friend's like, oh, come on, man, that's a coincidence. I mean, when that keeps happening to you, it's just like, I don't even know if I want to talk to these people anymore. And that's essentially what did happen to me in my life, largely because of September 11th. And then this research, even more so. But at the same time, by putting the knowledge out there, you realize that there are people who are receptive to it. And a lot of those people, or a lot of you, the people I'm talking about, and myself, maybe there's somebody closer to you than you realize who does care about this. So one website's going to be about helping people link up, form real relationships, organize, do something back. That's an expensive project. And because of the resources generated this year, that's happening. And then the other website's being built where my goal is to change or turn it into a marketplace where people who want to make their living in the truth community, if you will, by contributing something that keeps them financially afloat, that'll be the goal of this website. People will be able to put their product on there, whether it's a gematria calendar or a new book or an audio recording or music or something creative, a game, a lesson plan, information. Create a space, essentially like Etsy, right? Etsy, which banned my book, but a space where it's safe for people who care about truth to share information and promote it. We have to build a platform that's censorship resistant, that allows people to continue on with this information and also find a way to put more of their time into it. So many people who watch and listen, they say, I love your work, but I only have so much time because I have a family and a job. Well, if there's a way that they can figure out how to transition more of their time into this work and it helps them pay the bills, to me, that's a net positive for humanity. So those two websites are being built. They are expensive. They're going to be expensive to maintain. They're going to cost more going forward. All of this is possible because of the resources generated. The person in the chat who's very busy and is probably a troll, is spamming that this movement's going nowhere and I'm just making money off sports picks, which isn't the case. And even though I do put a lot of time into the sports, have you noticed that I keep up with pretty much everything going on in the mainstream? And I just had to look at the last call. I put out quite a few YouTube videos on recent topics in recent days. So I feel like I've been keeping up with the news. But I just wanted to address that. I imagine only trolls feel that way, but just in case anybody else feels that way, I just wanted to set the record straight. So that said, let's go back out to our friends so they can finish their thought, and then we'll move on. Color?
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, man. We need a snail mail. You need to get people snail mail addresses. I'm sorry that your number 19 went down and you lost like 60,000 subscribers. If you would have had the snail mail, you could have mailed them and given them a new address. But now, how many subscribers you got now on the new channel?
It's somehow it's up to 2,000. It shows that like 8,000 people have watched the video on my new channel.
Quick, man, like in one day, man, you got 2,000 subscribers.
But what's interesting though is you look at the video where you promoted your new channel and it has 8,000 views, and then you think, wait a minute, 2,000 subscribers. What happened to the other 6,000 people? Where's the other people? So
yeah. Do you have the hardcover copy of your book?
No, that still needs to be done. So I'm not.
I ordered 2 hardcover. I'm asking if you personally have a hardcover copy.
No, I haven't made one myself. I just used the electronic reference book.
Listen, man, I went to what do you call it?
Lulu.
Yeah, I went to Lulu. I got 2 hardcover comic books, one for my friend and one for myself. It's too small. I told you I'm legally blind. I can't read it. So I would like to send it to you. Would that be okay?
That would be okay. Yeah, that would be very nice. Yeah, thank you.
And I would sign it for you.
Awesome. Very cool.
But serious, I have an extra hard copy book. I'd like to send it to you.
Okay, I will contact you tomorrow.
Rosh Hashanah, man. It's commemorates the creation of the world. That's coming up.
I believe it's September 29th. So yeah, you're right.
So you think they might do something for the commemoration of the New World Order?
Well, I've noticed oftentimes on the Hebrew calendar when it's big dates, strange things are happening in the world. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, look into that, man. I look forward to seeing something that you could say about that, man. But Zach, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Don't let anybody shake you.
All right. Appreciate that, friend. And I will contact you. Thank you so much. You have a good night.
You got it, brother.
All right. Take care.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
I would have said I'd call him after the show, but it'll be midnight. It'll be after midnight. That might be too late to call. All right. Let's go out to Austin, Texas.
Hey, Zach.
Hello.
Hey.
What's on your mind,
How
caller?
do we can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah.
How do we defeat them? How do we defeat them?
Right. I think the way we defeat them is by awakening enough people to not participate in their systems that they built for us, and their systems include this education.
I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to work. They got the numbers. They got everything. They got everyone brainwashed, dumbed down, mind controlled.
But how easily can the spell be broken is the question. Maybe the spell's not as hard to break as we think. Maybe it's just a matter.
It's got to be simple. We just can't see it, right?
Well, I think it's just a matter of hijacking the news. I mean, there does need to be a well-organized.
The news has been controlled forever. I'm 62, brother. The news, I saw through the news since I was a little kid.
So I've always imagined something like this happening. Imagine that somehow we figure out how to hack like every major news network. I mean, there are people out there that have skills. Can it be done? Could you hack every news network and put out some substantial information and do it more than once? Just keep hitting them so that the word gets out. Hey, have you heard about how the news got hacked again? And everyone put out this information about gematria and how the federal government rigs everything by it. I mean, if something like that kept happening, just somehow to get it buzzing in the public, and people could verify it, which they can with this knowledge, maybe it has to be done that way.
It would shock the world.
That's what has to be done. Something has to be done to shock the world. Yeah. So I've said
in a good way.
Sure.
In a good way, where everyone keeps their brain together, because they want to start a civil war around the world, and I don't think they'll be able to do it, but we.
Well, I think they can be overthrown. I think where there's a will, there's a way. So.
That's right. That's right. We got to stay positive, brother.
Yep. So, appreciate the call, friend. You have a good night out there.
The numbers freak me out. All this number stuff, it freaks me out, and I'm not easily freaked out because I've known a lot of things all my life, made many predictions. I didn't need gematria to know everything was rigged, and we were all being duped.
Right.
Every fun.
And just to build on your point, I don't think you do need gematria to see how rigged things are. I didn't need it. From 2001 until I figured this out in 2013, I saw how rigged it was. But then finally, I figured out how they're doing it by this numerical code, and I was like, well, doesn't that make sense? That's why they like numbers.
Wild. That freaks me out, man. The numbers, it all adds up too.
Yeah. It's funny. I had this YouTube. I put on YouTube with the music playlist, and it started with it was just like it was a reggae playlist, and it was just going on for hours while I was working, and then it evolved into this reggae hip hop song. And I just noticed when the person was talking, it wasn't like the actual rapping or singing, but they were talking, and they asked the question, who made letters? Who made words? What kind of spell are the people under? Or something like that. And I was like, wait a minute, what is this song? Is this song alluding to exactly what we're exposing? But I had to look up that song, and it was by Damian Marley and the rapper Nas, and it came out in 2010, and the song is called Patience. But just when I heard that, because I'd never heard this song before, and it stood out when he asked the words in that order, and I thought, that sounds like Kabbalah and spelling, and seemingly like somehow this system that they're using is keeping people under a magical spell. So again, if this knowledge,
you're right. Is that what sparked you to get into this gematria?
No, I'm just telling that just happened today. Just happened today while I was working. I just heard that today.
I thought that 2010. I'm sorry.
I looked up the song because I'd never heard it before, but it came out in 2010. I was like, okay, so this song's been out. This isn't some new song. And
okay.
But anyway, it just hearing it, I was just like, yeah, there it is again. Words, numbers, spell. Why did he phrase it in that way? And then right after that, he's also asking the question, who wrote the Bible? So that's actually what he asked first. He says, who wrote the Bible? And then, who made letters?
We've been fooled on every front to be controlled. We are just brainwashed, totally taken for a ride since the beginning of. That's just the way it is. But yeah, it's great to be able to see through this stuff, because that's what I've always dedicated my life to see through the lies.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed.
Overwhelming at times, but I love what you're doing. You're Rambo. He's bad to the bone. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I really appreciate the call. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. And look forward to the next time. You take care, friend.
You too, man. Hang in there. We're going to beat these SOBs.
That's right. Yeah, that's the spirit. All right, man. Good night. Yeah, got to stay positive. Where there is a will, there is a way. And yeah, if you never heard that song, if you look up the song on YouTube, it's there. Patience, Damian Marley, Nas. If you just skip to about 3 minutes and 40 seconds, that's where he starts asking the questions. And I was like, yeah, those are good questions. Everybody should ask those questions. That's funny that it's in this song and worded in that sequential order. So if only we could get Nas on this show to talk about what he knows. Something tells me a lot of these entertainers that are well established within the industry, someone like Nas, who now does, liquor commercials and other advertisements. I mean, big name in hip hop world. It's like they must, somewhere along the way, they must have got indoctrinated in this industry and learned certain things. And maybe they can't put it out, but, Nas can ask 3 questions in a row in his song. Who made the Bible? Who made letters? Who made words? And what kind of spell are the people under anyway? It's like, yeah, exactly. He just synthesized everything that we're essentially researching and looking into on this channel. Let's go out to New York City.
Hey, Zach, how's it going, man?
What's up, man?
Hey, I was just wondering, I was looking on your blog, but I don't think you covered it yet. Did you see the death of Sid Craig from House of Thousand Corpses from Rob Zombie?
No, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, he died the 21st.
Okay. I'm going to have to look into that one.
Yeah, I didn't know, because I saw you didn't cover it on your blog, so I figured I'd call in and see if there's anything, there, numbers wise. I didn't really like doing the numbers on it yet, but figured I'd throw that your way.
Okay, yeah, I will look into that. I missed that story. He was 80 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I will look into it.
That's from the blog. All right, thanks, Zach.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. All right, let's go out to Texas. Texas, you're on.
What's up, dude?
Hey, man.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, I'm going to make it short and sweet. We have this child phenomena called Greta Thunberg.
Right.
I don't know if you want to call her phenomena. Some people have called her a mind-controlled puppet. Leo Zagami, I think, made that observation, and I'd have to agree with him. He also intimated that she may be demonically possessed. I might want to agree with that, too. But if you take Greta and you put her in the base ciphers, you'll come up with an 84, as in Jesuit, as in Sunday. Now, I have posited that this whole climate change initiative is going to distill into a national Sunday law. And they will want people to take a day off, be with the family. It's good for morality. And I believe this is the ultimate agenda behind it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Okay.
Yeah. how they, and I do believe that if Trump gets into office his next term, he'll be, at least the evangelicals around him will be the main ones pushing it. Now, if you take G as in Greta, you take J as a Jesuit, and you take S, and you put that into the four-base cipher, what do you come up with? Come up with 36, 9, 45, and 18.
Okay, yeah, GJS.
Yeah. So I believe that's very telling. We know that 3 sixes is 666. We know that 18 is 666. We know the mark of the beast is 666.
Right.
I would posit that Sunday is a mark. It's a mark of somebody's authority. And I would posit that that authority is in Rome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I wanted to share.
Well, I appreciate it. You make good observations, and it does seem that oftentimes that's where the authority is. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, just a small observation. Take care, man. Good work.
All
And
right.
I scrub your Twitter feed, and if you really work on that and tweet every video that you make and observations, you'd be surprised how many people would follow up on that.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get better about Twitter then.
You know, a lot of people would follow you because you'd have quick, instant observations, especially when it comes in the political and the entertainment sports spheres.
Right.
You're really on top of that.
Yeah, I got to do that. You're right. That's what I got to work on. Appreciate that.
And then people can share it a lot easier and retweet it, and that's what I do. You know, if you put something out there,
right,
I expect to retweet it. So, but you're doing a good job, man.
Appreciate that. Thank you. All right.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, you have a good night. Yeah, this Greta Thunberg, if you missed the video I put out, there's a lot to it, but the day she got all of her attention for her speech at the UN, that was 263 days after her birthday, which is the 56th prime number, and climate change equals 56, most pure cipher. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, her name sums to the same thing as climate change as well. So again, whose child is this? You know, what are the odds of a 16-year-old getting the attention of the world? So who is her family? All right, let's go out to Delaware. You're up, Delaware.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, man.
Well, I just wanted to talk about the two guys that died from the Kansas City Chiefs. The deaths of Walter White and Arthur Lane. Because when I was looking at the name Walter White, it kind of made me laugh and think of the Breaking Bad, because the guy in the show, his name is Walter White.
Right.
And on your feed, somebody was saying something about there was a guy in history. His name was Walter Francis White. He was an American civil rights activist who led the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People for almost a quarter of a century, from 1929 until about 1955, after joining the organization as an investigator in 1918. And after doing some numbers and looking at it, it's kind of looking like a lot of 54s, because the guy in the show who was friends with Walter White, the actor's name is Aaron Paul. His name sums to 54. Walter White equals 54. And recently, Drew Brees injured his right thumb. Right thumb has the same gematria as Drew Brees, as New Orleans, and Aaron Paul. So there might be some type of riddle between the Breaking Bad and the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees.
Yeah, very possibly. That's
right thumb equals. Yeah, so it seems kind of interesting. Might be something going on with that.
Anything else?
But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, yeah, great observation. I'll have to think about that one more. Breaking Bad, huh?
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, yeah, you have a good night. Take care. Breaking Bad, Walter White. I know that show's set in New Mexico, the 47th state. Every episode's 47 minutes. I think a lot of TV shows, though, are actually 47 minutes when you take out the commercial time. It's probably not a coincidence. Let's go out to Michigan. Michigan?
Hey, good evening, Zach.
Good evening.
What's the gematria of having two pissed off blind guys on the show on the same night?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm not really pissed off at you though. I'm just pissed off. And that, my brother called you too tonight. And we didn't talk, so that was kind of weird. Anyway, I kind of forgot what I was going to say, but TFR's phone lines are down again. I don't know what the heck's going on over there, but either they're not paying the bills, the light bills ain't getting paid, but the phones have been down for quite some time, off and on, but so I didn't, I always got to chime in if I'm on listening, but I love your show and love your work. My wife wants to chime in tonight, so here's my better half.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So I just wanted to read a little bit from Ephesians. It's Ephesians 6, and it's God's armor for believers. So it's about putting on the armor of righteousness. So finally, let the Lord make you strong. Depend on his mighty power. Put on all of God's armor. Then you can remain strong against the devil's evil plans. Our fight is not against human beings. It is against the rulers, the authorities, and the powers of this dark world. It is against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly world. So put on all of God's armor. Evil days will come, but you will be able to stand up to anything. And after you have done everything you can, you will still be standing. So I kind of, wanted to say this because of earlier the conversation about on the knees and standing, and we do have to stand up for ourselves. And so remain strong.
The commercial is interrupting us right now. Please stay patient. We'll come right back with our guest after the break. 1 second.
I am. Before I started using this product, every afternoon, my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc. I love this product. It really works. By Brad. Works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprem. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprem increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprem is the result. a safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
We are TFR. My destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
We're back, Truth Seeker. We're at the midway point. We got an hour and a half left. We are taking your calls the rest of the way. And once again, we got interrupted by the commercial. Let's go back. Okay, caller, you got the floor again.
Okay, so let me just finish up real here quick, and then I have a short little poem that I made for you. So remain. This is a back. What's going on? Okay, so put the belt of truth around your waist. Put the armor of godliness on your chest. Wear on your feet what will prepare you to tell the good news of peace. Also pick up the shield of faith. With it, you can put out all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Put on the helmet of salvation and take the sword of the Holy Spirit. The sword is God's word. At all times, pray by the power of the Spirit. Pray all kinds of prayers. Be watchful so that you can pray. Always keep on praying for all the Lord's people. Pray also for me. Pray that whatever I speak, the right words will be given to me. Then I can be bold as I tell the mystery of the good news. Because of the good news, I am being held by chains as the Lord's messenger. So pray that I will be bold as I preach the good news. That's what I should do. So thank you, Zach, for what you do. And so this is a little poem for you. Zach, be nimble. Zach, be quick. Zach will win all because he gets it. Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Have a good evening. Thank you so much for your call. It's nice to hear from people who appreciate the work. I don't put my callers up to complimenting me, but it's nice to hear something nice from people rather than what I'm used to reading. You know, due to all the trolling, there's just so much trolling. I'll tell you what, trolling is just it is just such an energy drain. You just try to even ignore it. It's just always there. It's like, man, these people are just relentless. If you guys are on my Patreon, you have no idea how much trolling is going on that page. And it's horrible. There's no way to stop it, because if you block a troll on Patreon, it just refunds all their money and they can instantly sign back up. So anyway, it's nice to hear some positive things. All right, let's go out to New Orleans.
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, man, thanks for calling.
Yeah, man, I'm just calling to tell you, appreciate all of the work that you're putting in, man. You're doing what you're supposed to do. This is your purpose, I feel like, and this is major. And I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I feel the same way, and it's nice to hear that somebody else does too. So appreciate that. How long have you followed for?
I've been following probably for like a good couple months now.
Okay.
But I've been on this truth path for a little while, like a couple years. But it's all coming like full circle because I'm finding it from different avenues. It's not all of the same type of truth, but it all connects to each other. So it makes sense.
Right. And it is all connected. So, yeah, absolutely. Well, very cool. Glad you found the work. Thank you. And thank you for following me to the new channel. So appreciate that, too.
Yeah, man, I'm on it. But I just wanted to tell you, appreciate you, man. Continue what you're doing. You're doing God's work.
Well, thank you. And I do plan to continue. I will continue as long as I can. So about 6 years into it now, but a whole lot of years left. So appreciate that, friend. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right. Yeah, have a good night. All right, next up, New York City. That caller reminds me, though, I mean, that's why you got to keep putting it out every single day, because he's only been here for 2 months, but he appreciates it. But some people say, don't you get tired of doing the same thing day after day? Because I've been doing it like for 6 years. And yeah, there is a part of me that gets tired of doing the same thing day after day, but I just know that each new day, somebody new is going to find the work. So that's the motivation. Let's go out to New York City.
Hey, Zach, what's going on?
Hey, man, what's up?
What's up? I really didn't have too much for today to talk about, but the one thing I wanted to talk about, what do you think about the Trump impeachment today?
So the news broke yesterday, right, about the impeachment inquiry?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it came 102 days after Trump's birthday or his 103rd day of his age. Both of those numbers are interesting because the Democratic Party equals 102. So does the name Clinton. And she had that 102-year-old campaigning for, if anyone remembers that story, the 102-year-old woman campaigning for Hillary Clinton. Go back and look it up. But so 102 days after his birthday or his 103rd day of his age, impeachment inquiry equals 103.
Okay. So what you think it's going to lead to?
Well,
to a war or him getting kicked out before the election?
Well,
or he getting reelected?
It brings the engagement, right? It brings the engagement. It fires up both sides because he's such a polarizing figure. So it's hard to say where they're going to go with this yet, but it does remain to be seen if Trump is a 2-term president. Again, Elizabeth Warren, she's going to be the only person 71 years old at the time of the election. 71's the 20th prime number. It's the 2020 election. They had the first Democratic debate 71 weeks before the election on the nose, on a date with 71 numerology. So I'm wondering if Elizabeth Warren could be the Lisa Simpson character from the Simpsons prophecy of Donald Trump, or if that's still 4 years out. But we'll find out soon enough. So we just had Melania Trump open up the Dow Jones Monday, September 23rd, on the 45,045th day of the Dow Index, 4545. Trump number 45, Wall Street's 45. House of Cards presidency, fall coming up. So, I mean, if the economy tanked, that would be the end of Trump, because pretty much that's what everyone likes him for. Like they said at the Democratic debate, the first thing they said, again, on the debate was 71 date numerology, 71 weeks before the election. The first thing they said was, with 71% of people approving Trump's economy, what are the Democrats going to say? They start out with that first question with that status 71. So if the economy tanks out, then I think that Trump will be a 1-term president. So see what they got scripted here soon enough.
Okay. I just want to make one more point. Since we got what's going on over here with our politics, and you see what's going on in Israel and their politics, and you see what's going on in UK and their politics, it's all connected with the market collapsing, right?
Indeed. Right. And London, Washington, D.C., Jerusalem, they're all independent city-states, essentially, Vatican. So, yeah, it's symbolic. It is symbolic. Remember, it's 2019. The agenda is order out of chaos. Chaos equals 19. You got chaos in all those major New World Order governments, which might as well all be the United Kingdom. Jerusalem in the United States, absolutely part of the United Kingdom. So.
Okay, that's exact.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Great points. Appreciate the call, man. You have a good night.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Take care. But yeah, that is true. That Israel, their government's in disarray. UK, US, President Twitter. So it's all by the code. Let's go out to San Diego.
And Zach.
Hey, you're on.
What's up, Brother Paul, again, and everybody? I just had a few thoughts here. Let's see, I just started, 10 seconds ago. So let's try 2 minutes. Thinking that's one thing you could probably do is like a show, I don't know, say 5 o'clock Western. What's that give us? 5, 6, 7, 8 to New York, correct?
Right.
The now o'clock, whatever platform. Give everybody 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So, hey, let me know when I'm at 20 seconds from 2 minutes, and I'll shut up until we're done. And then, dang it, I have so many thoughts. I actually did get a chance to talk to the SEAL this week, and I kind of talked to him about some stuff and said, you know what, you guys are the ones that need to be in a presidential position. He said, nah, you don't want me there. I'd implement the purge. And, yeah, that was kind of scary. But, I mean, it's understandable with what they go through, and it all pretty much seems meaningless after seeing your brothers blown apart. But that seems like what they're going to want to do anyways, the purge. But I don't know. Yeah, definitely. Amen to our sister, Ephesians, and then Ephesians 5:11. Stand not with, wickedness, but expose them. This is insanity, man. I understand what that one guy was saying about, like, what are we doing? I brought that up a year ago or whatever, and it's just, I think he's coming from the perspective of just those of us that have been awake for so long and, like, want to see the change, right, actually happening, which it is, through many different ways, and we are it. And it's like, to our brother that says, how do we defeat them? Just like our sister said, rest in God and everything. He's already got it, but that's the cool thing, right, is we get to live here, right here in the now, right? And you choose ye this day who you will serve. And just be assured, and God will lead you wherever, whatever. It is very, it sucks though. Just this, all the stuff we see going on. But that's a cool thing. We get to make our choices and do things. So yeah, maybe just remind me 20 seconds. Let me know when that's coming on in 2 minutes.
Well, we went over the 2 minute mark, but I didn't want to interrupt you in your thought. But I do appreciate you calling in and letting your message be known. Okay. So thank you, friend.
Absolutely, brother. You have a good night.
All right. Yeah, you too. Take care. All right. Let's go out to Grand Prairie, Texas.
What's up, Zach? How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, man. Me and my wife, we always call in. Just had a few quick points to touch on. One, how did you come across that song by Nas today?
Like I said, I was working and I had the YouTube playing, just like how it goes through music videos and just keeps bringing in new music videos. And eventually it went from like, I started with Ika Mouse, the reggae artist, and somehow after like an hour and a half, that song came up. I'd never heard it before. But it grabbed my attention when he asked that question. I was like, wait a minute. I had to rewind it. I was like, yeah, that is exactly what he just said. So.
Yeah, the lyrics on it is, who wrote the Bible, who wrote the Quran, and was it a lightning storm that gave birth to the earth and then dinosaurs were born? Who made up words, who made up numbers, and what kind of spell is mankind under? everything on the planet, we preserve it, can it, microwaved it, try it, whatever. So it goes into other stuff. But yeah, man, that's a classic album, Damian Marley and Nas. Not a lot of people know about that album, but definitely a classic. So that's crazy that you came across that. Once I learned about your, the gematria and everything, immediately those lyrics clicked with me. So that was pretty cool. But one of the other things I wanted to touch on was everybody basically like the frustration with the growth of the movement and where it's going. And I don't know, typically when people tend to come across with stuff off the internet or post stuff on the internet, it just gets absorbed like everything else on the internet. Like nobody's really paying attention. Those are, people that are really mainly on there just scrolling or zombies. They're just there for the likes, the dopamine and the release that they're getting when they see certain things, et cetera, et cetera. I don't remember who said it or what teaching it was, but basically the theory is that if you teach 9 people and those 9 people teach 9 people and those 9 people and so on and so forth, right? This knowledge begins to spread.
Fast.
And when you approach somebody
fast
in person, and you can, the thing is, like, when you talk to people in your life, they know you're not crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because of how long you've known them, the things that you do, et cetera, et cetera. So when you share this knowledge to people that you know and people that you see on a regular basis, they tend to take it better than somebody just posting, clicking stuff on the internet. Sure. Anybody can post anything they want on the internet, right? But when it comes from somebody who you know, who's credible, who's not crazy, who's not just some, whatever, it tends to come across a little bit better. So I know that the internet thing is important and it could spread like wildfire that way, but I think it's better rooted by each person just teaching it face to face to another person. And like I said, teach 9 people and teach those 9 people to teach 9 people. And you'd be surprised how quickly it spreads on.
Sure.
The other thing I wanted to touch on with that was there's a theory or an experiment that was done called the 100th monkey experiment, where basically they were given monkeys on an island in Japan, and the scientists ran this experiment. They were basically giving them sweet potatoes and they were throwing them in the sand, and the monkey learned to rinse the sand off. They would run to the river and rinse the sand off and then eat it, making it more palatable, easier to eat. And the young monkey would teach the mother, and so on and so forth. So the older monkeys that basically were stuck in their ways didn't attach themselves to the knowledge, but the younger monkeys did. So what they ended up finding was that eventually monkeys that were on the mainland of Japan that didn't have any connection with the monkeys that were on the island that they were running the experiment on began to rinse their food as well. Meaning that there was like a common knowledge, what we call common sense. You know what I'm saying? That person has no common sense. It's a common plane of knowledge that exists that we all share, whether we know it or not. We're all connected to it. We're all on it. So again, as we teach ourselves this knowledge, we are increasing the likelihood of other people to catch on and be more familiar with this knowledge. It's all ancient. It all goes back, you know what I'm saying, to way before we even know. And so, because to be able to track the zodiac, you're talking about 26,000 years for a complete precession of the equinoxes, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
26,000,
mm-hmm.
Okay. Approximately 2,160 years per sign.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to track that, that's 26,000 years. To ensure that it happens a second time and you can teach somebody this knowledge that it will occur again, you need 52,000 years. So that means the people who tracked that and understood this knowledge existed for at least 52,000 years way before we were here. That makes sense? Do you feel me?
Well, that is an argument, but you could also say because of mathematics and measurement, they were able to, do it in less time. But to live it and experience it, and it would take the period of time you're saying. But also, I'm just saying because of mathematics, you could, by making the measurements, you could go, okay, well, it's going to do the full circle in this amount of time. So.
Right, but to ensure that it happens a second time.
Sure. No,
I mean, experience is definitely the best teacher.
I agree.
That's just the theory that I'll throw out there. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on, the caller from Texas earlier that was talking about the Sunday what was it, the Sunday law?
Uh-huh.
It's not the first time I've heard that either. Our daughter went to school with this girl, and she told our daughter that her family was moving to Egypt. And we were like, what? So obviously we inquired when we met the mom and stuff like that. And she basically laid it all out. Said the same thing, that the Sunday law is coming and et cetera, et cetera. The Pope, warned us about 5G cell towers, the Pope and, the Vatican running everything. And then we started to notice these 5G, there's 2 within a mile of our house. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but they're disguising them as trees.
Huh.
Have you seen them?
Well, I think I moved to a smaller town, so I don't think I'm going to see any of that for a while. But they're probably showing up in the city. So
yeah, they legitimately look like tall pine trees. They have like a big brown pole, and then they have like leaves, and they like build it, and it's just a legitimate 5G cell tower. And I was just like, why are they disguising them as trees?
Huh, that is
probably
strange.
Because of the number of them they're going to have to put up.
Yeah, that's strange. Huh.
So, but yeah, just wanted to drop those things, and we'll get it on and let the next caller get in.
All right, appreciate it. Great call. Have a good night.
Take care, sir.
All right, yeah, take care. Thanks. Yeah, they've made some great calls since they started listening. Let's go out to Virginia.
Hey, Zach, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Hey, I called you last week with the Weather War 101 such.
Right.
I'm just calling back this week because I'm tired of sitting around, man. I'm tired of just listening and want to try to get active as much as possible. And I have a couple things. From week 1, Patriots and Steelers.
Okay.
I didn't know if you covered this, but I don't know if it's relevant either. But the score, 33-3. Adding 3 plus 3 plus 3, you get 9.
Right.
And the NFL Network, after the game, they had posted Tom Brady's stats up there: 341 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. So 3 plus 4 plus 1 plus these 3 touchdowns is 11.
Right.
So you get the 9-11 there. And with Big Ben, he had 27 completions, 47 attempts, 7 plus 2, 9, 7 plus 4, 11. I don't know if that's relevant or not. It's just an observation.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of 11s.
But I can't. Yeah, the 9/11, and it was wasn't it the first Sunday before? That was the Wednesday you had some trouble with your stream.
That game was September 8th, the 251st day of the year, the 54th prime number. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I watched your videos on that, and then I watched your one. I think it was yesterday about him having 911 passing yards.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, something else that they do it. So.
But I can't even watch football anymore. I can't even stand to watch it. And I appreciate you bringing, awareness to this stuff, and it irritated me. Something terrible to see you get shut down there.
Well, I knew it was only a matter of time, so life goes on. But yeah, it is irritating.
Yeah, I just hate it. I know. Anytime you start getting any closer or something, they're gonna shut you down.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad that the other platform's getting built right now, because it's just time for people to. Again, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get people to be aware of the site and to use it. But YouTube made it clear that it's not for truth, and we're the enemy of YouTube. So
it definitely is. I mean, it's just pure entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
The crap that they throw up there. I just got into. I'm 32. And I've had my head in the sand my whole life up until last year.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, just going on like everybody else. Don't think about nothing, don't care about anything. And I came on to your work there about, I think it was the Saints game. Saints and the Rams last year.
Okay.
And one of your videos popped up, and I was like, come on, let's take a look at this. And I watched it, and I was like, this is crazy. And I brought up your channel, man, and I went back and watched so much stuff. And I can't even handle watching football anymore, man. And I appreciate it. You know, this is the first year that I've been outside Sundays, enjoying the sun with my kids, not worrying about the damn games and how stupid it is. You know what I mean? And thank you, man. Thank you.
You're welcome, and that's what I love to hear, because several people have called and said that over the years, and I just think that that's great, because I mean, really, those games. Because I mean, I understand it. Like, you know, I'm just like you. I love sports. I love competition. But then when you realize that it's all rigged and meant to just like pull at your heartstrings and drain your energy and make you angry, it's just like everyone needs to be free to this, because this is not authentic competition. This is something that's meant to mess with your mind. And like I pointed out with the Seahawks game this weekend, I'm up here in Washington State, so we get the Seahawks game. And what they did in the Seahawks game is they showed a highlight of what they called the Beast Quake, where Marshawn Lynch of the Seahawks had this great touchdown run to help the Seahawks beat the Saints in the playoffs in 2011. And as soon as they show that highlight, as soon as it ends, I mean, like not even a second in between, like as soon as the highlight ends, it's the snap of the ball, the Seahawks are on offense, and the running back goes off for a big run. He runs 33 yards down the field, literally 33 yards, but at the end of the run, the ball gets punched out. The New Orleans defense picks it up and runs it back for a touchdown. So, like, for the Seahawk fan who's invested in the game, they just relive, like, one of the greatest Seahawks memories ever. As soon as that ended, they got this great big run that took up a huge chunk of the field, but then, oh, wait a minute, it ends with a fumble and a return for a touchdown. It's just like the complete, 180-degree shift as fast as possible to mess with the fan, and you just see how scripted it is.
Yeah, it just drains people. It demoralizes them. Like, that was like, it just drains them. Like, oh my God, I can't believe, that just happened.
Right. Indeed. And then what was amazing to watch is, so then the Saints went on to just score a bunch of touchdowns. It went from a tied game to a huge margin in 5 minutes of game time, I'd say about. But then Russell Wilson puts together a drive and rushes a ball into the end zone, and instantly they have up a stat that it's been since I believe they said November 26, 2017, since he had a rushing touchdown, which was 666 days earlier. The number of the beast when the game's on the Beast Quake. We'll be right back, everybody.
My name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
Special report, whistleblower complaint release. The whistleblower complaint that's led to the House opening an impeachment inquiry raised alarms not only about what President Trump said to Ukraine's president in a call concerning political rival Joe Biden. That's according to the New York Times, which said the complaint also raised concern about how the White House handled records of the conversation. President Trump says he supports transparency.
Even though it was supposedly second-hand information, which is sort of interesting.
And other things have come out about the whistleblower that are also maybe even more interesting.
Another question raised by House Democrat Raja Krishnamurthy.
The vast majority of the material should be declassified immediately. And the fact that the White House has not done so just begs the question, why? Why do they not want us to see the full why do they not want the American people to see the full whistleblower complaint?
Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer said the public has the right to read the complaint for themselves. I'm Barbara Cusack. Some tough words from Iran's president at the United Nations General Assembly a day after President Trump called on world leaders to present a united front in the face of Iranian aggression.
As long as sanctions remain in place, Iran's leaders said they will not negotiate a nuclear deal.
We have never surrendered to foreign aggression and imposition.
Speaking to an interpreter at the UNGA, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani called the U.S. policy toward his nation merciless economic terrorism. Rouhani said his country has a right to independence as well as science and technology development. Steve Kastenbaum, New York.
A deteriorating picture of the world's oceans portrayed in a new United Nations report on climate change. It found oceans are warmer, more acidic, and less productive, posing problems for coral reefs and shellfish. A strong 6.5 magnitude inland earthquake struck eastern Indonesia, causing people to flee to higher ground. No immediate reports of major damage or casualties. I'm Barbara Cusack.
This is Truth Frequency Radio. The wicked one, obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question 3.
This code has been compromised.
We're back, True Seeker. It's the final hour. There are 7 callers on hold right now, so if you want to stay on hold, your call will be answered. There were more before the break. I think a lot of people hung up thinking that their call's not going to get answered. So for the people who are remaining, be patient. We'll get to your call. And again, just in terms of how scripted sports are by this code that we talk about, a code that's some light is shed on this code in Revelation 13:18, where it teaches about the number of the beast, the number of a man, 666. Again, the Seahawks game this weekend, it was a psychological warfare for the fans, what they did to them. All sorts of rituals if you just pay attention. But one of them was Russell Wilson scoring his first rushing touchdown since November 26th, 2017, which was a span of 666 days from the day he scored September 22nd. 666, the number of the beast, where that game, they made a focus on what's known as the beast quake. Something I just noticed is that 666 days is 95 weeks and 1 day. And what's interesting about that 666 days is 95 weeks and 1 day, is if you write out 666, it equals 95 in gematria. I've always wondered if there's something more to that, because the Jesuit order, their formation date, which is coming up September 27th, is the day leaving, 95 days left in the year. And of course, they have a lot to do with the Catholic Church. And of course, Catholic Church has a lot to do with the Bible as we know it. So that was one of the many rituals that took place this past Sunday in just the Seahawks game alone. Let me go back out to the caller so he can finish his thought, and then we will move on to the other people waiting patiently. You got it, caller.
Yes, sir, man. You nailed it. It's just, like I say, I can't even watch football games. I don't want to watch them and look at, you just pay attention to all the numbers, the time on the clock. On the Bears and Packers game, I noticed one of the Packers drives, Aaron Rodgers had a 47-yard pass. It was a no huddle drive. The drive ended up being 4 plays for 70 yards.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny. And I only watched the first and second quarter of that game, but in the first and second quarter, I noticed the ref, the zebra, number 47, was in the frame a lot.
Uh-huh.
And the defensive player from the Bears, number 74.
Uh-huh. So what you're saying, because I realized, so you found me last NFL playoffs. A lot of people did, and they've been following since. But this is what it is. Once you become aware of this knowledge, you start to realize how they make sure a number's on the screen that doesn't need to be there. And you realize the cameraman is obviously conscious of it because he's sure to have it in the shot. And then you start to realize it's the same repetitive numbers game after game. And you're like, yeah, those are the same numbers Zach's always talking about in his videos. So, yeah, that's exactly how it is.
Yes, sir. Number 38. Number 38 on the Packers defense just seemed like he got a lot of attention that night.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the first and second quarter.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then you start to look at things. You start to if you go beyond looking and you go, hey, let me look up who number 38 is. You might realize that that game was 38 days after his birthday and he had his best game of the season and the camera was on him all night. And you're like, look at that. Number 38 days after his birthday has his career game. It's like that week after week when you actually go and pay attention and do the decoding. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And like I say, I appreciate you, man. Like I say, I'd like to get in trying to call you as much as possible. And like I say, I'm tired of sitting in the corner and just listening. Just like you say all the time, a lot of people just listen and they don't really do anything. They just take stuff in. I'm just trying to gather up everything as much as possible. And shit, man, I'm tired of sitting around.
Yeah, me too, man. And I'm sick of it too because I feel like I've been too much of a keyboard warrior for the last 6 years, putting out this information, and more does need to be done. So yeah, I'm with you, man, and that's why I'm hoping that we can get organized and start pounding the pavement together and showing up at sports games and just doing whatever we got to do to get the word out. So that's the goal.
Well, you definitely put the time in, brother, and I appreciate all the time you put in. And when your new channel came up, I seen your video to your new channel, man. I went straight over there, subscribed. Didn't play around.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate
it. No problem, man. I can't wait to see your website, and I'll try to call in and know some more stuff.
Very cool. All right, look forward to the next one. You have a good night.
All right, you have a good night too, sir.
All right, take care. All right, let's go out to Missouri. Missouri, you got the floor.
Hey, how's it going? I wanted to touch on 2 things real quick. So the first thing was Ben Roethlisberger and Eli Manning. So they both were drafted in the same year, 2004. And so that would mean that they were both have played, 15 full years in the NFL. So at the beginning of this season, they both were okay. So Eli Manning was actually benched after his second game.
Right.
Ben Roethlisberger in the second game got injured.
Right.
So it seemed like the number 2 with them is very it's something about both of them with the number 2. They both won 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
Eli Manning is kind of the second Manning quarterback, just out of the guys that we know as far as the brothers.
Right.
What's his name? Ben Roethlisberger was drafted in the first round as the 11th pick. So that was kind of interesting to see how some of these injuries are rigged, or sometimes how they want to make us believe that the other guy took Eli Manning's position where they just kind of wanted to move him out after the second game.
Right.
So the sports do seem kind of rigged from that standpoint. I also wanted to touch on what you said about, you were saying some real interesting stuff about Mac Miller, Tupac, Eazy-E, Kevin Durant. So Eazy-E born on the 7th of September. That's the same day that Tupac was shot. And he ended up dying 6 days later on Friday the 13th.
Right.
Drake had put out Drake put out a new TV show called Top Boy on Netflix. And he dropped it this year on Friday the 13th, September 13th.
Huh.
So it seems like there's some kind of riddle with that. Also this year, Drake had another TV show called Euphoria that's on HBO. And the first episode aired on June 16th, and that's Tupac's birthday.
Right,
so
right.
The same year he puts out, in the same year he puts out two TV shows on Tupac's, on a day that's associated with Tupac, 9/13 and then 6/16.
Right, yeah.
He also had albums. It's pretty weird because he also had albums that he put out on the last album that Tupac put out an album February 13th, 1996. It's All Eyes on Me. That's his last album he put out.
Right.
And then 6 months to the day, he died in September 13th. So a full 6 months go by, he died September 13th. Drake puts out projects on those same days too. So, and also on the 24th of September, Drake has, he posted an Instagram post with a big Tupac thing on his shirt.
Huh.
So it definitely seems to be something with that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. I was not aware that happened. Just to in case you don't know these things, so Tupac died September 13th, the date written 13/9, like 139 in the majority of the world. Tupac Shakur equals 139. So does Freemasonry, very special number. And then his birthday, June 16th, 16/6, like 166. Secret Society equals 166. So there's something special to those dates in terms of the numbers and how they go together. And then, of course, Tupac, he did put out All Eyes on Me on February 13th, 213. And then he died 213 days later due to complications from a drive-by shooting. Drive-by shooting equals 213. Black Panther also equals 213, like how his mother was a Black Panther. The film All Eyes on Me starts with his mom coming out of the courthouse related to the Black Panthers. And then the other thing about Tupac's mom, when she died the other year, the news of her death was released on the real Machiavelli's birthday, May 3rd. I think that was 2016. Wow. But a lot of people didn't catch that. The death of his mother was announced on the real Machiavelli's birthday. And of course, Machiavelli, the way he spelled it, his rap alias, the album that was released after his death, of course, Machiavelli faked his death. So, I mean,
right.
See, maybe like the thing is like Tupac still is in the industry. Maybe Tupac still influenced for a lot of rappers, and that's part of the, the secret cabal and what goes on. Who knows? But yeah, there's obviously something to because it's not just Drake that does the tributes to Tupac. It's like there's tributes to Tupac every single year when you pay attention. The other year, Mobb Deep rapper Prodigy died while being in Vegas.
June.
And from sickle cell, and it was sickle cell. Right, it was sickle cell awareness day that the news came out of his death. So it's like, okay, what are the odds of that? And then it was I think that weekend was the weekend the Tupac movie had come out, if I'm not mistaken. And
it was.
Yeah, so that had come out.
The Tupac movie was released on his birthday.
Right. And
Tupac's birthday.
Exactly.
That's when it came out.
And then in that one song, he even raps about, Tupac years ago rapped about that rapper and how he has sickle cell. So it's like, what's really going on?
Weird because like the guy who died, Prodigy, he was really into trying to break down the codes and look at the Illuminati and stuff. So he got songs talking about the Illuminati and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty crazy. We don't know. I don't know if he's a part of it or they killed him because he started to find out a lot of it. But also with the 139, so he said Tupac Shakur 139.
That's right.
Type, so Eazy-E, his first album called Easy Does It came out September 13th, 1988.
Huh.
So the gangster rap like kind of genre really became mainstream with Eazy-E and NWA.
Right.
And so it seems like Tupac is a part of this legacy of maybe that type of music coming to the community.
Sure.
And so if Eazy-E, comes out with his album September 13th, then I guess it's 8 years later, Tupac's out on the same day. The days in between it is like 2,922 days. He added all of it. It comes to a 6. And Tupac gets shot on Eazy-E's birthday, died 6 days later. So it's really pretty crazy.
It is.
Also, Kevin Durant, you type in his name, it equals 139.
Mm-hmm.
And he got a Tupac tattoo. So Tupac dies on 13/9. So.
Yep. You see how these rituals are actually being done. And then the other year on September 7th, LeBron James and Kevin Durant, their rap track comes out, and it's called "It Ain't Easy" on Eazy-E's birthday. So. Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. Wow.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it though. Appreciate that.
All right, great observations. Appreciate the call. Thank you.
All right, you take care.
All right, yeah, you too. Didn't realize that about Eazy-E's first album. So just another piece of the puzzle right there. Let's go out to Reno. Let me try that again. I don't think it worked. Let's try it one more time. Reno, you should have the floor.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, I'm working right now, but I'm sorry about the backdrop noise, and I'll try to keep it on mute when I'm not talking. But hey, I just like talking to you, man. You're an anomaly, man. And I just wanted to know, can you just kind of speculate for me a little bit, Zach? Speculate about your enemy. Speculate about who exactly might be making this code. Like, what alphabet agency do you think would be in charge of this code? And what do you like? Do you think they're just sitting around in a room like what's his name, John Nash in The Beautiful Mind, with a bunch of other mind freaks that are able to come up with these dastardly equations to screw with our minds? And what picture comes to your mind when you think about your adversary who's actually creating these codes?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. So let me answer that. So who's the adversary? Who is behind? Who is the cabal that's actively, arranging all this stuff, from the politics, the political corruption, the rigged political theater, to the latest mass shooting that they want to make sure everybody knows about so that they have a reason to take away their rights, to the rigged sports game. I think, honestly, it's a lot of the people who, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but I think there are people just like us, is how I envision it. Some people think it's a greater race, an Anunnaki. I mean, that's possible, but I really think that it's people who are largely in suits, in high places, born into wealth, members of these, elite schools that got to be in the most exclusive secret societies. And a lot of us know Skull and Bones. The reason a lot of us know Skull and Bones is because it's out there. It's out there because of the film. It's out there because of Tim Russerd's question to Bush and Kerry in 2004. There's other secret societies like that, though. So I think that people from privileged families who are getting educated and indoctrinated in these schools and in these secret societies, I think that they learn the code. And essentially, they're the keepers of the code. We see how repetitive it is. So if you learn this knowledge and how to conduct rituals by it, you see how a group of people, because that's what bothers me. So many people say it's impossible for man to do this, but I disagree. I mean, by us decoding it and observing it, we realize, like, okay, this is arithmetic and this is spelling. that this is within the capability of man. Like, so I do think that they are probably using computers and AI to help generate their narratives, and as much stuff is put out there every day in the mainstream. But still, at the end of the day, it's within the capability of man. So I think it's a controlling group. Again, you look at the wealth disparity of this nation. There is 100 people in the United States of America who have more wealth than 90-some% of the people. So, I mean, you just have to think about how crazy that is. A group of 100 people who could fit in a theater and there'd still be plenty of seats open, have more wealth than almost the entire nation. Try imagine fitting the entire nation in a movie theater. You know, obviously impossible. So there are people that are very powerful, who have a lot of wealth, who have a lot of resources, that they control, you know, pretty much all of the media outlets we have, all of the food distribution companies that most of us get. If you look at it, I mean, if you go to your grocery store and look at all those different products, there's about 5 companies that have the majority of those products. And then you look at the grocery stores that most of us are shopping at, they're also owned by those same companies or another small exclusive group of people. So the point I'm making is there are powerful people in this world. They are small groups. They're connected. You know, they're well-rooted. And I think at the end of the day, it is these people who are using this knowledge and keeping humanity in the same tired loops, whether it's, you know, just focused on entertainment and sports, or et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, instead of rambling on, I think, did I answer your question?
Oh, yeah, Zach, I mean, still point. I just, you know, because of the movies that we've seen over the last few years with The Beautiful Mind and whatever, I just envision, like you said, some guys in suits that work for the Department of Defense or some entity of that department who sit around and, like you said, on computers generating these riddles and these numbers. And it's fascinating because when you see how far it reaches to the NFL players, to the MLB players, you wonder, like I was watching that one, the Jets and the Patriots game the other day. And I know you had put out that video about Washington State University, right? And
right.
So I jumped on it. I jumped on it. I put a $700 bet on it. It was going to pay out like $10,000. Of course it didn't pay. But I'm just wondering, you see how obvious this script is. As the Patriots Hubbard guy, just so that it could spread would cover. So the Patriots Hubbard guy obviously mocked the punt like within the 10 yards of the end zone and allowed the Jets to score a touchdown. But I mean, Zach, the shit is so obvious, man. It's so obvious. How come no one, I mean, we're all worried about Deflategate and all this other dumb shit, but this shit, the sticking is obvious right in front of our faces. And no one from the NFL is curious to how they're getting away with such obvious. I mean, it seems to be like you had said. You had said this years ago. You said, "Watch how they're playing. It's not even football anymore. It's a total different game. Guys are wide open when they shouldn't be wide open on 3rd and long. How are they wide open? How is it? You know, how is Tom Brady able to be the best in the world, and he can't even catch a pass on a reverse? He can't even catch a pass. How is this guy the greatest that ever lived? And they call him the GOAT. And the thing is, I work with a bunch of people, and they all believe it. They're all like brainwashed. And no matter how ridiculous the scenario is, they believe it. And I'm just flabbergasted on how the NFL is able to get away with such obvious mockery. Well, not even just the NFL. Like if you watch the Major League Baseball, the Orioles game yesterday. I mean, it was just, I mean, some of those games, the Nats games, they just wait till around the 6th or 7th inning if they're in a deficit and they want to win the game, then they just let a bunch of runs in the 6th and 7th inning. That's just crazy. It's not the sport that we grew up watching, Zach. It's not even a sport. I mean, it's obviously, only a fool would believe that this is real stuff.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I feel the same way. it's amazing. So I appreciate it, friend. All right, brother. Yeah, have a good night, man. You make a lot of great points. You take care. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think a lot of us ask the same question. How don't the masses see what we see? The obvious mockery from the rigged sports to everything else. I mean, I've been asking the same question since September 11th. How come people can't see through the lie of 9/11? How can they believe a boogeyman in a cave did it? Let's go out to New York.
Hey, brother Zach, how you doing, my friend?
Doing well. How are you?
Okay, I'm flying solo tonight. Where do I begin? You know, I had that one truck driver that called in. He said, he quoted Gandhi, "If you want to change the world, let it begin with you." That's where we can change things, my friend.
Right.
And through knowledge. You know, I was a little late to the program, and I'll go and listen to it later. But I was dropping some knowledge. I went to the gym, and after my little workout, I'm in the sauna, and I started dropping some gematria bombs. And the guy found it very interesting. He said, well, what are you going to do with all this? I was like, sir, I'm doing it right now. I was like, I think it was Jefferson said, to inform and educate the masses of people is the only sure reliance to the preservation of liberty. And that's what we have to do. And yeah, we're on their chessboard. There's no doubt about that, my friend. No doubt about it. But we certainly have to expose these people. And that's what you've done and you continue to do. And, you know, it's a monumental task. And I understand, you know, who runs the show, but I'm never going to relent. And whether it was a customer that I spoke to today about the vaccines and that nonsense, and we agreed on this stuff. And, or whether it's I ran into a Gold Star mother the other day when I was getting, I stopped to get a slice of pizza for lunch or something, you know, and, you know, I told her, you know, I was sorry about her loss, but, you know, our son was a mercenary, unfortunately, unwittingly, you know, and I told her about my friend Big D, who they tried to poison and he had to be evacuated out of, you know, Iraq, you know, and I gave her, of course, James Madison's quote that if tyranny and oppression had come to this land, it would be under the guise of fighting a foreign enemy. And the liberties that will be lost will be charged to enemies, whether real or imagined from abroad. You know, and that's what we have to do. And that's what I do, my friend. And I'm relentless. And I won't stop until the day I stop breathing, my friend. And whatever, I mean, I got almost over 60 good years now in the bank, and I'm persistent because I know this is my duty. As a real man of peace, you know, a man that abhors, you know, these senseless wars and this bloodshed, you know. But that's what we have to do. And we have to organize. We have to get in groups, even if it's just 2 or 3. You know, get a hold of somebody in your community and get active. And if you're by yourself, you got to be careful, of course. But
hey, sit tight, real quick. The music's kicking in. Sit tight, friend. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of True Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured TrueFrequencyRadio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality. Visit TrueFrequencyRadio.com/sign up. Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
So you love talk radio, then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store. If you have hard water, the Live Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
For millennia, mankind has been searching for answers to the big questions, such as, where did the universe come from? Where did we come from? Why are we here? Are we alone? And just what the heck is the Sasquatch all about? I can't promise you answers, and neither can the Woo Crew, but they invite you to join them Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight in the UK, for Freaky Friday, exclusively on Truth Frequency Radio. Spirituality, multiverse, quantum mechanics, the occult, and so much conspiracy analysis that it will make your mind melt. Take my word for it. Freaky Friday. It's more than a show. It's a way of life. I am Stephen Hawking, and I am proud to be a Wookiee.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR Frequency Radio.
All right, True Seeker, we're back. It's the final 30 minutes. I almost forgot to mute the music. Somebody said that's my kind of music. Somebody likes Pink Floyd out there. I also saw another comment in the chat. Did I know that my channel was deleted on a 68 date numerology and that my name sums to 68? If you write out Zachary K. Hubbard, it does sum to 68. I was also at 68,000 subscribers, according to YouTube, when they deleted the channel. So, yeah. Maybe it wasn't an accident, but I knew it was only a matter of time until they took it down. So more people phoned in. We got 30 minutes left. If you guys can keep your call to a minute or 2 minutes, we'll get everybody in. Let's go back to New York so they can finish their thought. You got the floor, friend.
Okay, real quick. I noticed, I think it was a great comment in one of your videos. Not only did Tom Brady have 911 passing yards after the first 3 games, but he had 3 touchdown passes in his first game, 2 in his second, and 2 in his third against the Jets. So 3-2-2. Throwing bones, of course. And that goes back to Genesis.
Right.
So, and I agree with your assessment of that other caller, and I agree with him about I'm not able to watch the sports like I did. You know, I'll only watch a little bit of it because it does make me sick. You know, real quick, you know, I know you do have some Christians that listen to this program, and one of the guys that I go to is a guy named ChuckBaldwinLive.com. ChuckBaldwinLive.com. He's got a sermon on the Talmud, Shabbatism, and no-hide laws. He also has a link to an article how most Christians are embracing these rabbinic prophecies, which is nothing but heresy. But real quick, getting back to 9/11, one of my clients died on 9/11. And a beautiful young lady. And I used to joke with her, if I wasn't married, I'd be trying to hook up with you. She died in Canna Fitzgerald. She worked for that big company that lost most of the employees there. So, to me, I need to keep speaking truth just to try to, keep up the good fight, because there are few people that are doing it. And the people that are really hitting the bullseye like you will have all sorts of problems. So I applaud you. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good fight, my friend. And I just love what you're doing, man. And just stay safe out there to you and your loved ones. Blessings. Peace, brother.
Thank you so much, friend. You have a good night. Big D as well. Always great to hear from you, gentlemen. Great call as always, friend. Thank you. I know Big D wasn't there tonight, but often they both call in. Always got great points to make. Let's go out to Atlanta. Atlanta, you're on. Sounds like you might be driving, Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta's just listening. All right, I'm going to assume they're just listening. All right, Phoenix, Arizona.
What up, Zach?
What's up?
How you doing, man? Just want to share some Nas lyrics with you real quick here. I'm not a huge fan of him, but assuming by a lot of his lyrics, I think he knows a lot of stuff. I think he knew a lot of this stuff before he was famous, but anyway, that song that goes, I know I can be what I want to be. The third verse, kind of hidden. It goes, B. Before we came to this country, we were kings and queens, never porch monkeys. There was empires in Africa called Kush Timbuktu, where every race came to get books, to learn from black teachers who taught Greeks and Romans. Asians, Arabs gave them gold when gold was converted to money and all changed. Money then became empowerment for Europeans. The Persian military invaded, they heard about the gold, the teachings, and everything sacred. Africa was almost robbed naked. Slavery was money, so they began making slave ships. Egypt was the place that Alexander the Great went. He was so shocked at the mountains with black faces, shot off their nose to impose what basically still goes on today, you see. He's talking about shooting the nose off the Sphinx in Egypt, because it was representative the nose of a black person.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe not, but that's my take on it.
Sure.
But yeah, someone called about Nas, man, and he also talked about the cell phone towers, the fake trees, man. Those have been in Arizona for like 10 years. I remember the first time I saw one, I'm like, why is there a fake tree right there? Oh, it's a cell phone tower. Why are they hiding cell phone towers? What? Because they have ones that aren't fake, you know? But yeah, I know you got a lot of other callers here, so I'll let you get on.
All right, great call. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Zach, have a good night.
Right,
everybody else, have a great night.
You know, I have never noticed one of these cell phone towers as a tree. I have a feeling they're around here, though. I live in Washington State, so we got trees everywhere. I'm going to pay more attention. So somehow I had not noticed that today. Let's go out to California. California.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, you're on.
Zach.
Yes.
Hey, man, it's Carl again.
Hey.
Thanks for taking my call for the second time.
Okay.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know, when I hung up, you said something about going to jail. And, whether you got a kid or not, standing on a public sidewalk, with a sign is definitely not any means at all, to be put in a cage. I mean, unless, you're not supposed to be by a school or something, that's different. I just wanted to let you know, because you said something about going to jail, and I know that you're affiliated with, iHeart and have to abide by their rules, but believe me, don't let them influence you in any kind of action moves, and don't let jail deter you.
Well, you're right about that. You're right about that. I'm not sure that I said I don't know if I said jail. I was just saying I'm not sure if going on public schools and promoting the information would be
Listen, Zach,
successful.
Zach, I did not say anything about going on a public school. I said standing on a public sidewalk, even if you're standing across the street.
Sure. Sure. Well, no, that could be done.
Well, I'm glad. I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay.
You know, there are ways, to get around the brainwashing of the guys with the badge.
Yeah, you're right about that. Absolutely. So.
And believe me, you put everyone on the same day, northwest, south, all over, all your callers, same day. And we all sit out there with the sign saying, please teach the next generation gematria, whether your name is on it or not. I'm telling you, you talk about action, you talk about phone calls, you'd have to have more people answering phones for you. Trust me.
Well, you know what? You actually given me a good idea with this. Supposedly, there's like maybe we need to start a.
Zach, I've been trying to give you ideas for how many years now? Have I been calling? And I finally gave up, and I said, you know what? Let me give it one more try. You know.
Sure. Well, I hear you, man. It has been a long time, and
Okay.
we haven't made as much progress as we'd like. But
okay.
I'm saying,
okay.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling back, and thanks for making the point. I do agree with you. There needs to be more action. But that over the years, that caller's always the same. I can't say very much before he starts talking again. He's not the greatest listener, but supposedly, if you get enough signatures on a petition, then they have to bring it up as a political matter. Maybe we do need to actually start doing things like that. I don't believe in the government and the tyranny that it is, but maybe we need to seek routes that get things in front of people's eyes. Is it possible to get on a ballot? Should gematria be taught in the public school curriculum for X and X state? People might be like, what? Why? What is that? What gematria? I never heard of that. Just to get the word out there. So, yeah, and then if that became a topic and something went viral, you could say, have people stand across from the street in public schools and put up signs. Children deserve to know gematria. Yeah, that would be awesome. So, again, when we get this website rolling, it's going to be about organizing people and also promoting ideas that people can work on together, projects that we can work on together, to hopefully make this work go viral. That's the one thing that still hasn't happened. So it's got to get out there. The knowledge has to get out there. Let's go out to Florida.
Hey, Zach, have you ever heard of $1 Million Extreme, the comedy group?
$1 Million Stream?
Extreme, like extremism, like $1 Million Extreme, MDE.
I got to look it up. I haven't heard of it.
Okay, well, the main dude, his name is Sam Hyde, and they ended up getting a show on Adult Swim. Before you put out your book, they put out a book that's 744 pages long.
Huh.
And I just noticed that if you do the gematria, you got to look up the book to see how it's spelled. $1 Million Extreme is the name of their group, and the name of their book is How to Bomb the U.S. Government, but they abbreviate government as GOVT, like GOV''T.
Uh-huh.
They get 36 with $1 Million Extreme, and then 236 with in the reverse ordinal with How to Bomb the U.S. Government.
Huh.
And then you also get, with How to Bomb the U.S. Government, you get 79, and that's the 22nd prime, and MDE gives you 22. I actually talked to one of the dudes. He had a live stream for like gaming or something, and I asked him straight up. I was like talking to him about gematria. The stream might still be out there when I'm talking to him about it, and he acted like he didn't know anything about it. But like I said, they ended up getting on TV, and Ted Turner's network. They're kind of living on Ted Turner money now. So I've never really trusted them, but I did buy the book. But only because I knew I was going to resell it. So. But yeah, check them out.
Okay, I'll look into it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, take care. All right. Let's go out to Nevada.
Oh, Zach, I'm sorry. I was just listening offline. I already talked to you, brother.
Okay, appreciate it, man. Thank you for listening. Let's go out to Grand Prairie, Texas.
Hey, Zach, we're back, man. I just had a couple more points after continuing to listen. We just wanted to throw a couple more things in there. First off, you always mention murder by numbers in the movie poster, obviously changing the E to a 3 and B to an 8. Have you ever watched the movie?
You know what's funny? I haven't seen the movie. I need to.
So because you always mentioned it, you know what I'm saying, we decided to go ahead and seek it out and watch the movie and see what it had in it and if it was like legit like that. And to be honest with you, there's nothing that has to do with murder by the numbers. It literally has not a single thing to do with gematria. It has to do with a well thought out, well planned murder by these two kids, but has nothing to do with gematria as a whole.
Did you decode the movie?
Like, what's that?
Did you decode the characters in the film and do anything like that?
Nah, you know what? We didn't, but I'll do that and I'll call you back next week with all that. How about that?
Okay, I should watch it too and see what I see. Okay.
It absolutely had nothing to do with it though. Like I said, it was, well, you know, it was a great movie and it was actually like entertaining and whatnot, but like legitimately had nothing to do with murder by the numbers, which is really strange. Like, why change the 3 and the 8 if it doesn't have anything to do with that? Like, you're throwing it in our face, right?
Right.
So
why title the movie that? Right.
Right. So secondly, one thing I want to realize, or I want people to, again, like we called earlier, and we were talking about 9 people teaching 9 people and teaching 9 people. Along with that gematria, you also have to teach what these people are doing, right? And why they're doing it, so that people understand that these numbers mean something or why they mean something, right? So think about this. The people that are running this, even the people that are in government, right? The senators that are passing bills and whatnot, this, that, or the other, presidents, et cetera, we, by paying taxes, are paying these people to torture us.
True.
Every day.
True.
We're paying police officers. We're paying fire people. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're paying politicians and all these government people. We, by paying taxes, are paying their salaries. We're paying 30% of the money that we work all year, most of us 40 plus hours a week for. 30% of that we're paying back to them.
Right.
To pay these people to do this shit to us.
Right.
Excuse my language, my fault. So, again, we need to organize on a tax front. What if everybody stops paying income taxes? But they can put us all in jail.
Exactly. I've said the same thing before. That's exactly what needs to be done. Right.
Yeah, they'll try. Unfortunately, there's no way around paying state tax, because when you purchase stuff, you have to pay tax. They're going to charge you tax. If you pay the difference or you pay the exact amount and don't pay tax, they're going to arrest you right there. So that's something. But income tax, we can all stop paying that.
Well, and you know what? The state taxes could be undone too. If you got enough people and enough of a movement, you could say, you know what? We're not going to shop at stores anymore that include sales tax. We're going to find alternatives. We're going to create our own stores where we don't charge any sales tax, and we don't plan on collecting it. We don't plan on paying it. If somehow, I mean, that would be a really hard thing to accomplish. But if all of a sudden people stopped shopping at places where they had to pay sales tax, the stores would respond. They'd have no choice but to. So
the issue with that being that the people who would have to create that already have no money.
That's true.
We're the ones being taxed and taxed and taxed and taxed. So we don't have the money to start a business to where we can say, okay,
but imagine if all the overtaxed people, if you organized a date, you said, you know what, we're not going to work today. Today we're ending the taxation without representation system, and we're shutting these governments down. We're forming at the capitals, and we're filling up the buildings, and we're not leaving until somebody gets on the megaphone and lets us know that we're done with the taxation scheme. I mean, it really does need to happen like that. And if people thought about it and we did end it, you know, ultimately the average person grinding around the year, about a third of that year, that money is going to somebody other than themselves, all that time they put in for work.
Yep. And then if again, like, it's just, if people could organize on a front like that, like they could, well, we don't know how serious the Area 51 thing really was, but if people could organize like they did with Rush Area 51, like don't pay taxes on a certain date or don't do that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's when real change happens. But again, they keep us divided through these sports, through politics, through multiple different fronts. And so, again, it makes it harder and harder for us to unite. But that's why when you preach this stuff to people, you not only have to preach the gematria side of it, you have to preach what these people are doing to us and why they're doing it.
Right.
And then make these people understand that you're teaching the knowledge, why it's being used against us, and how. Not just the gematria in and of itself, because people don't really understand that.
Right.
My last point, just because I know obviously we got short time, the reason why, and this is from my understanding and through some research that I've done, but the people in power understand, and if you understand life as a whole, everything is just a vibration. Everything exists on a plane. It's just a vibration. Color is a vibration. We're vibrations. The molecules that make us up are vibrations, right? All these things that do to us, even each feeling that each person has, a different vibration. That vibration stimulates the hypothalamus, which secretes a different chemical for each feeling that we feel, which that's why you have different feelings. Every feeling is a different chemical reaction. People get addicted to it. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but there's two major rules that the people in power have to follow. And basically what they believe is that all these there's entities and beings and shit that surrounds us all the time, that they can tap into these energies, whether you want to call it Satan, whether you want to call it the devil, Moloch, whatever you want to call it, right? The only way to access these energies is through a certain set of coded instructions, right? Just like an IP address. You can only reach a certain website through a certain IP address. You put a different IP address, you get a different website. So two of the major rules that they have to follow to unlock these energies are, one, is they can't enslave us. We, as a people and as a whole, have to demand that they enslave us, right? That sounds weird. Why would we demand that they enslave us? But that's why you see these repeated rituals with these mass shootings, right? Because they're creating situations in which we demand they enslave us. All of a sudden, they create this. So I'm an MC as well. I write. I wrote a line. I kind of don't want to give it out, but I'm gonna put it out there. So check this out. I wrote this back in 2013. I said, they create the problem that causes the confusion. From that confusion, we look to them for a solution. And that solution is always a pre-derived illusion, because the problem in the first place was only an illusion.
Yeah.
So they create these situations in which we demand that they take our guns away. We demand that they put chips in our children so that they're safe and that we can track them. They create situations. We demand that they do these things that are making us slaves. We want more technology, right? I want faster phone. Like, I got an iPhone 10, but then they're about to drop the XR or whatever it is, the iPhone 11. Well, I want faster. I want more internet, right? So, well, if you want faster internet, well, we got to put up more towers and we got to go to 5G. Well, in the meantime, that 5G is destroying us. But guess what? We demanded it. I wanted faster internet. I wanted more access. I wanted to be on tap wherever I go. You know what I'm saying? They created that. Hey, in the end, if it causes cancer and ends up killing all y'all, y'all asked for it. Not our fault. And so we just did what y'all wanted. There was no time for long-term tests, because guess what? Y'all wanted it, we provided it. The second rule that they must follow is they have to show us everything that they're doing. They're not allowed to hide anything. We think it's hidden, but it's in plain sight. If you're smart enough to recognize it, you see it. If you're not, oh well, you're bad.
Right.
And that's exactly the rules that they're following.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's 100% correct. So appreciate it, man. Great call again. Great points.
Yeah, no problem.
I agree with all of them. And thanks for the lyrics too. All right, man. You have a good night.
Thanks, man. Take care, man. Have a good night.
All right, take care. All right, we got 4 minutes of show. Let's go out to Virginia. Virginia, you got it.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, is this Zach?
Yes, it is.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I can't believe that I thought I missed it for the night. I thought, well, he's not going to pick up my call. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
I've just been listening to your show the last several months, and I don't understand all the advanced like the sports coding and all, because I don't watch football. But I understand a lot of the other numerology that you're showing. So I just had a few questions about different things. I wondered if you had heard about the naming of the Bob Seger Boulevard, 33 Bob Seger Boulevard in Michigan this past summer.
I missed that. I'll have to look it up. Interesting. I'm sure there's a ritual.
I sent you, I was interested in that because they changed. It's been a major concert venue in Michigan for many years. It's Pine Knob.
Okay.
And it's near Detroit. And they just renamed I don't remember the name of the street, but they renamed it to 33 Bob Seger Boulevard.
I see it. Looks like June 5th. June 5th was the news. Okay, I'll look into that.
So yeah, I wanted to hear your decode about that, and the only thing that stood out to me, and I'm not an advanced student, but that it was 33.
Sure, that number does always stand out.
33 to be the street number.
So they did it on his birthday. They did it on his 74th birthday, and I'm always preaching about how they pair 33 and 70. Or actually, I take it back. It wasn't his birthday was May 6th. He turned 74, and then they did it June 5th, shortly after. I should look at the distance in days, but 74 and 33 are numbers they always bring together. Masonic 74, Masonry 73. It's like how out of the 50 states, only one sums to 74, and it's Oregon, the 33rd state in order of statehood. His birth name is Robert. Robert equals 33 as well. So I'll look at this more. I'm sure there's a greater riddle to it.
Well, I just got lost in all you were saying. I'm kind of following it, and I know that ultimately at the higher levels, there is math and everything. I mean, like advanced scientific principles like physics are built on these entire complex math systems.
Sure, right.
Which lately seems that they're proving to be false.
Right.
They're proving to be these worldly systems of math, like physics and all this math that things are built on, like how far the sun is planets, etc. Deep math that most people don't understand. Like if you could really look in depth at the math, is the whole structure false? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like advanced physics formulas, and I was wondering if you've ever looked into, deeper math that explains entire concepts, theories, etc.
Those are things I definitely need to do.
Which leads me to another interesting question: the numerology and gematria of the world versus word. Like we have world, WORLD,
right,
versus God's word, which is WORD. There's only one letter difference, and God's word's always warning against the world. And we're always talking about how corrupt the world system is. So I thought that was an interesting comparison of two words, world and word.
And again, in the Kabbalistic belief, God created the world by merging letters, numbers, and words. We're out to show everybody. Sorry, we ran out of time. Bob Seger Drive equals 137. 33 Bob Seger. Hold on. What did I do with it? Oh, we'll get it next week. We ran out of show, people. Until next time, True Seeker. Okay, what I was trying to say is that the address she just brought up, so they named this concert venue, they changed the address to 33 Bob Seger Drive, and that sums to 137, the 33rd prime. It also sums to 74, like his age. Caller?
Is that?
Yeah.
Hey, Brother Paul, again, I'm sorry, dude. So we'll go with one more 2 minutes. Are you cool? 2 minutes?
Sure. Yeah, 2 minutes is cool.
All right, yep. Basically, like, that's all they're saying about, like, a 2 minute thing for people or whatever, like, whatever time, 5 to 6 or whatever. But just, okay, real quick, do you have names? I don't know if I've missed it yet of your websites that are coming out.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the names that people already know me for. So the community site will be called Free to Find Truth, where people can network, and the website will be Gematria Effect News. It'll be gematriaeffect.news.
Okay.
And then the other website will be freetofindtruth.com once they're finished. Yeah.
Copy that. Okay. Yeah, the only thing I was thinking was, like, in the meantime, till those are up and running, like, about the 2-minute thing or whatever, just like, what the other guy's, like, saying, what do we do, or whatever, and you're, like, saying, you know, what do we do? You're doing it for sure, but just, like, I was just thinking, you know, if we kind of, like, I don't know, because your platform, dude, is badass. It's, like, the only one that you know, you don't know me, I don't know you personally, but for 6 years, you know, like, been listening, it's like, you are the dude that's freaking running this shit, dude, that we're, like, boom, this is at least one of them. And so, like, all I'm saying is, like, is if we had, so we got, like, these ideas, and then, just, I know you do so much work every day, but I was just thinking, like, if we did something daily, right? Or so maybe it's not just you, but like through your site or whatever, daily we just keep going, and like you got an idea of what's going on. The one thing you were talking about, the money, is awesome. We put in contribution, and it's like we're doing it every day, seeing the progression of all these different things, you know, and then just boom, 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 boom. Because it's just, you know, with the show every Wednesday, it's just, you know, so much time passes when everybody wants, like, I wish that there was like a 24/7 something, you know what I mean, that we could just be in contact, everybody be in contact whenever you feel like it. So that's it. I don't know.
Well, that's what the website's going to hopefully do, is create a community where people can network, and eventually maybe we get a radio platform up on there as well. And Rambo finally has his own show, and everybody else who deserves to have one and who wants one.
Exactly.
So yeah, that is the goal, and that's the plan. We're going to keep building it. So the first two things that are getting done, you know, the community website, and then the website to keep this work censorship free, so it doesn't all get taken down at once. And then also that's going to evolve into a community marketplace where people can sell products that help further this movement, but also so that people can generate revenue and hopefully escape their typical 9-to-5 and dedicate more time and energy to getting this word out there. So yeah, these are the direction of things, man, and I think it's going to be successful. So
no, absolutely it is, brother. Hey, thank you very much, man, and you have a wonderful night, too.
All right, yeah, thanks, man. Take care.
Later.
All right, see you. You guys, I'm actually going to end this live stream right now, and I'm going to start another live stream because I wanted to cover some news stories that I didn't get a chance to do today. Yeah, there's just not enough hours in a day, but I am going to end this right now, and I'm going to start a new live stream on this channel in just a couple minutes. So if you want to stay up for the presentation of some of the stories today that I wanted to go over, I will be right back, and appreciate everyone as always tuning in. So just a moment, and we'll be right back.